Good afternoon and welcome to Lowell Park for Game 2 of the Western Division Finals between the Falmouth Commodores and the Cotuit Kettleers. My name's Jacob Cohen alongside Caleb Kaufman, and Ben Gainsborough, Will Krause, and Josh Rothstein will be joining us soon on this special extended edition of the Kettleers playoff pregame show. But first, Caleb and I are going to recap how these two teams got to this matchup. So first, to give you a little bit of info on the Falmouth Commodores, the Bourne Braves took them to 3 games in the Round 1 series, 2 pretty close games in Game 1 and Game 2, but Falmouth finally pulled ahead, scoring a lot of runs for a Game 3 win to clinch a berth in the second round, winning 8-2. And compared to Cotuit in those 3 games, they were not nearly as offensively charged. And that's because while Falmouth was getting people on base, they were not bringing them around to score. They only had 4 extra base hits in the first round. Cotuit had 17. They only worked 7 walks. Cotuit worked 21. So it was either the Falmouth batters are getting out or they're getting on base, not really bringing a lot of runs around. And we saw that in Game 1 on Monday, too. It was a shutout win for Cotuit. So that's something they're going to need to improve today if they want to force a Game 3 tomorrow. In addition, the team hit .276 in the series, and you saw a few names drop from the regular season curve, namely Hayden Cantrell and Trey Cruz. Their batting averages dipped in that series compared to where they were at in the regular season. But you saw a few players rise to the occasion, showing an affinity for crunch time in the playoffs, and that would be Jackson Coots and Blake Dunn. They trended upwards a huge amount, both hitting over .350 in the first round, both posting on base percentage of over .400. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Zach DeLoach. He's just as hot as he was in the regular season, comparable to our own Nick Gonzalez. He's leading his team in playoff batting average as he did in the regular season at .417. So pretty incredible from DeLoach. And as I said, the Commodores didn't bring a lot of runs around, but while the offense didn't light up the diamond, they could fall back on their pitching. They had an incredible starting rotation throughout the regular season. I mean, how else do you win 11 straight? It's unbelievable, really. And that really showed in Round 1. The pitching staff only gave up 7 runs in those 3 games. 4 of them were earned. They held Bourne to a .168 team batting average and a .238 on-base percentage. So, you know, because of that, Falmouth was able to outpace them a little bit and fall back on the good pitching. In addition, the starting core in particular, they went 16 2/3, only gave up 2 earned runs between the 3 pitchers who started in those games. And especially one starter of note is the ace, Carmen Mlodzinski. In Game 1 of that series, he went 5 shutout innings. So if Falmouth is able to win today and force a Game 3 tomorrow, you can bet that he'll most likely be on the bump to try to take the Commodores into the Cape League final. So that's all I have for the Falmouth Commodores. I'm going to throw it over to Caleb now for a little bit about how your Cotuit Kettleers got here.
For the Kettleers, they got to the second round on the backs of offense, and a little bit more offense from Cotuit. Their series also went 3 games against Wareham Gatemen as they won 2-1 in the series. And Game 1 of the playoffs kind of started as a disaster for the Kettleers. Jackson Wolf couldn't get out of the first inning after he strained his back, giving up 6 runs to start. But that was the worst it got for the Kettleers pretty much in the first round. Everything else seemed to be smooth sailing, as in Game 1, Chris Holcomb with his signature swag, a common collective player. He came in and shut the door, going 4 shutout innings, only allowing 2 walks, and bought time for the Kettleers to come back into that game and hold out until the 3rd and 4th inning, where they combined for 7 runs in those 2 innings, got all the way back in the game, actually took the lead surprisingly, and was able to kind of revitalize what looked like kind of a dud of a game and have some momentum going into Game 2. Even though Kyle Nicholas came in, he also pitched outstanding, one of his best performances since early in the season, where he was untouchable for the first couple outings in the Cape League. He went 3 innings. He was the tough luck loser, giving up a couple bloop singles, and then ended up losing in the 10th inning in extras. But overall, the comeback for the Kettleers really gave them energy to come out for the second game, which was all Cotuit. You kind of could tell from the very beginning of that game, even before the game even started, Nick Gonzalez was awarded the MVP award in the Cape League. Very well deserved by him. The players were relaxed. They were while still being locked in during pregame, and it was a rout. Cotuit came out and won 22-2. Every starting batter got on base that game. Araj Anu went 3 for 5 in the game with 5 RBIs. And then you know the game is an outstanding offensive game when Dante Williams goes 3 for 6 with 3 RBIs, and everyone forgot about it. Usually you go 3 for 6 with 3 RBIs, you're the headline. Instead, when you're forgotten in that case, you know the rest of your offense also really did well. And the other story in Game 2 was Sean Sullivan, the freshman out of Cal Berkeley. He looked like he was a senior ready to go, throwing 5 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. He looked like the ace he's always been all season for the Kettleers. And then that momentum from the 22-2 win really transitioned into Game 3, where all I could say was it was a professional game by the Kettleers. It was a bullpen-esque game with Nick Jones starting, and then they went to the bullpen. But the true star of Game 3 was Casey Schmidt. He came in, locked it down for 5 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts. He was pretty much untouchable. His fastball was getting over. His splitter was having batters out in front. And Coach Roberts had faith in him, and after game was like, there was no one else I would have thought to put in as the closer to close out the series. And his faith was well-deserved in Casey Schmidt as he came through. And as I said before the Gateman series, the offense all season for the Kettleers had been there. We're the number 2 team in runs on offense. And the question would be, would the pitching be able to keep up with the offense? And so far in the playoffs, it has. The one game it didn't in Game 1 where they gave up 6 in the early was their only loss. And still, the offense almost pulled them out of that deep hole to start the game. And since then, they put up 22, 4-1 victory in Wareham, and then a 5-0 shutout in Falmouth yesterday. So the offense has been there, and the pitching has backed them up, and that's why they seem to be on a good roll right now. And then to talk about this upcoming series with Falmouth and the game today, we have Will Kraus.
The Cotuit Kettleers defeated the Falmouth Commodores in Game 1 by a score of 5-0 a couple of days ago. Cotuit had a really big breakout inning in the second inning when they scored 3 runs off the bat of Parker Chavers, Adam Oviedo, and the feet of Dante Williams. Parker Chavers hit a liner to shortstop that was ruled an error as the shortstop muffed it, but that put Cotuit up 1-0, scoring Casey Schmidt all the way from second. And then Adam Oviedo had a big sac fly later in the inning that scored Colton Kessler, and then Dante Williams really created a run for the 3rd run of the inning. He stole third base, and then on a wild pitch ended up scoring. Coach Roberts was very complimentary of Williams' performance after the game. Then in the next inning, Adam Oviedo would add his 2nd RBI with a single to left field, and then finally in the 6th inning, Nick Gonzalez on a hit and run with Dante Williams at second, line one to center field that made the game 5-0. But the real story, the real stars of the game were Trey Holland and Bo Hofstra for the Kettleers on the mound. They were terrific, throwing a shutout, and Trey Holland threw 6 scoreless innings. Coach Roberts was very complimentary of him as well, saying that he really mixed up his speeds on his secondary pitches, keeping the Falmouth Commodores off balance throughout the night before he left to a standing ovation. It was really a special moment on the Cotuit sideline. The entire fans were on their feet for Holland along with his teammates. They came out of the dugout to celebrate with him. It was really a cool moment. And then Hofstra came in that very inning, the 7th inning, with 1 runner on and no outs, and he got a big double play on a slider. Coach Roberts said he really kept the ball down in the zone, and that Bo really wanted to go out there to come in for the Kettleers. He'd been waiting for Coach Roberts to tell him to go get him all season long, and Bo Hofstra went out there and got him, throwing 3 scoreless innings, giving Cotuit the Game 1 win. Looking forward to today. Talking about the starters tonight is Josh Rothstein along with Ben Gainsborough talking about today's game.
Thanks, Will. I'm Ben, and this is Josh Rothstein, and we're here talking about today's game. The key for the Kettleers looking ahead to this game is the pitching staff. The pitching staff that was so inconsistent from game to game during the regular season, and then we turned the page, we got past Game 1, and they're suddenly shutting out Falmouth at Falmouth's home stadium, which wasn't done the entire regular season. The key for Cotuit's pitching staff is to limit the walks. When Cotuit allows the walks, that's when we've seen the damage done. That's what happened in Game 1 of the playoffs. Walked a couple guys, there was a hit, and before you know it, 6 runs scored. When Cotuit's throwing strikes, as they did last game, they're very good. And when they're throwing strikes and limiting those runs and limiting those walks, usually the offense is good enough to dig them out of holes, as we saw for the first 4 games of the playoffs. Looking at Falmouth, this is a very deep and very talented offensive team. From my opinion, I don't think there's a deeper 1-9 team that Mike Roberts alludes to a lot, getting contact, getting power from 1 through 9 in the batting order, than Falmouth. Their 9-hitter all season has been Austin Maisel of Holy Cross, and he's hitting he hit over 350 in the regular season. So if he's hitting 9th and then he can turn it over to Hayden Cantrell, who also hit over 300 during the regular season, that's a pretty good way to start. For Falmouth to really score runs, though, it's those big 3. Hayden Cantrell, the leadoff guy from Louisiana Lafayette, Zach DeLoach, as we know, he was the best hitter average-wise during the regular season. And then Trey Cruz from Rice is a guy with a ton of pop, a guy who brings energy to this team. He hit the 3-run home run that kind of elevated them past Bourne in that Game 3. So they really need talent from them in particular, but really it's that 1 through 9 that Falmouth needs to really get going to win ball games. And to talk about the pitching matchup today, we have Josh.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. And the scheduled pitching matchup today is Chris Gonzalez for Falmouth and Jackson Wolf for Cotuit. Chris Gonzalez is a junior out of Stetson. He hasn't appeared in these playoffs yet. His last appearance was actually against the Kettleers, a July 31st doubleheader. He pitched in Game 2, gave up 3 earned runs in 3 innings, and really it's been a bit of a struggle for Gonzalez this season. He's 2-4 with a 5.60 ERA. He's made 8 starts, 24 strikeouts, just 9 walks, so he does put it over the plate, but sometimes it's a little bit too good as opponents are hitting 286 off him this season. His best start of the season came July 20th versus Orleans. He threw 6 shutout innings in a winning effort, and he has yet to throw in the playoffs, as he mentioned. Meanwhile, we've talked about Jackson Wolf throughout the show. He struggled. There was no kidding about that. He struggled in Wareham in Game 1. He had a little bit of back discomfort going into the game. He got the first out and thought, I'm feeling better, everything might come to me, and it really didn't. And after 2/3 of an inning, he and Coach Roberts had seen enough. The back was acting up, and Coach Roberts had to get him out of the game to either preserve him for a future game and just to keep the Kettleers in the game, which eventually they were able to fight back and just coming up short. Jacksonville, other than that, however, has been rather pretty good for Cotuit. He pitched to a 3.03 ERA in the regular season. Of course, that went up considerably with the playoff start at Wareham, but besides that start, he's been very good. In 26 2/3 innings, he has 27 strikeouts and just 11 walks. The 11 walks, though, are really a bit of a misleading stat because 6 of them came in one start at Chatham, so he does throw strikes, and Falmouth does have a powerful lineup, so it's going to be a putting the ball in play type of afternoon, at least for the Kettleers on defense, so the defense will have to come through. Jacksonville's best start of the season came at Wareham. It was a 1-0 loss, a really defensive and pitching game. He pitched 5 shutout innings, and Cotuit would end up to lose 1-0, no fault, though, to Jackson Wolves. He hasn't faced Falmouth this season, but as Ben mentioned, the Cotuit staff, really since the first inning at Wareham, has been lights out. 35 2/3 innings, just the 4 earned runs, and 7 walks, which is the fewest of any of the remaining teams. And it's a real contrast to the regular season, as Hyannis was the only team that had more walks issued during the regular season. So for more on this afternoon's game, we'll send it upstairs to our commentators, Sam Niederman and Aram Layton.
Welcome into the village of Cotuit. This afternoon, it's game number 2 of the Western Division Championship Series. The Cotuit Kettleers with a chance to clinch the pennant as they host the Falmouth Commodores, already up in the series 1-0. Welcome into our broadcast booth, Sam Niederman alongside Aram Layton and our entire Cotuit media team crew standing by. It is Lowell Park for postseason baseball again. Cotuit got out of the first round in 3 games against Wareham. Then the Kettleers got a Game 1 victory at Falmouth a couple of nights ago, a 5-0 shutout. We were rained out yesterday, Aram, so we're a day late on this one, but the Kettleers still have positive momentum in their pocket.
Oh, they've had positive momentum since they finished up at Spillane Field. It seems like since that disaster first inning at Spillane Field, since then, the offense has been clicking on all cylinders. The pitching has been just as good. How about Trey Holland and Bo Hofstra in that Game 1 2 days ago? Holland, 6 shutout innings. Hofstra comes in and shuts the door. And this is the pitching the Kettleers need out of some of those role guys that came here late and or have not been the go-to guys. It seems like top to bottom, whether it's the offense or the bullpen, everyone's been coming through.
It was a storybook outing for Trey Holland, who tossed 6 scoreless innings for the Kettleers in Game 1 against Falmouth. The Division III left-hander from Denison University stepped up to the plate. It was storybook, the former old neighbor of Coach Roberts in Durham, North Carolina. What a special outing, and how crucial was that to save the Kettleer bullpen?
Well, that's exactly the point, Sam. The off day does help them a little bit, but it helps both teams. But the Kettleers only had to use one arm out of the bullpen in Bo Hofstra, and props to Hofstra for finishing it out. But Trey Holland going 6+ innings, used all of his pitches effectively, only surrendered a couple hits, and he just kept them off balance all ball game long, and he proved that you don't have to have 90+ stuff to get hitters out at any level, and at this level, he really dominated Falmouth in that ball game.
Bo Hofstra went the final 3 innings. Kettleers took Game 1 5-0. Now Cotuit's in position to get one more win and advance to the Cape League Championship Series. Who would have been thinking that maybe a couple of weeks ago when the Kettleers had only won 5 of their last 15 regular season games? Now it's Kettleer momentum and magic, and they have a chance to win it in front of their home crowd today at Lowell Park. It's a pretty good crowd right now. Third base grandstand clapping and waving during the starting lineup introductions by our public address announcer, Roy Reese. Probably will get some more fans that file in. The lawn chairs peppered up the left field line and on the right side as well. First base grandstand a little thinner as always, and both managers meeting with the umpiring crew at home plate. A couple of familiar faces in the old guard of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Mike Roberts in his 16th season. He's won 2 Cape League championships. His last came in 2013. He's on the road to his 3rd. Opposite Jeff Trundy in his 22nd year as the Falmouth head coach. He has never won a Cape League title despite playing in 5 Cape League Championship Series and going 0 for 5. Both managers got a little bit of a luxury yesterday with the off day, so that means we get a pitching matchup that we thought we might not get after the cancellation due to an extra days of rest, but it's the original duo that we were going to see yesterday. Jackson Wolf, the left-hander from West Virginia, healthy. He goes for the Kettleers, opposite another left-hander for Falmouth, Chris Gonzalez from Stetson University.
Well, the Kettleers knocked around Gonzalez in the final regular season game back in that doubleheader where the Kettleers won 13-2 with the position players on the mound. Gonzalez has been a little hot and cold all season long, but the Kettleers seemed like they had his number, and they have to have some confidence rolling off of that appearance against Gonzalez. As for Wolf, he's been strong all season long, ran into some trouble in that playoff game against the Gatemen, but looks like he's going to come back poised, and there was some back spasm problems that ended up taking him out of the ball game. You mentioned he's healthy now. He wanted to get another opportunity, and he feels like he can really right the ship.
Wolf itching to pitch and rebound after only lasting 2 outs in the first inning of the postseason against Wareham. He is back. His back is healthy, and he's ready to go, getting the ball as Cotuit's Game 2 starter in the Western Division Championship Series. Chris Gonzalez did face the Kettleers just a little over a week ago in the regular season finale at Falmouth. He was the losing pitcher in that game, going 3 innings, allowing 3 runs on 6 hits. He walked 1, did not strike out anybody. The lefty out of Stetson tossed 35 1/3 innings and 8 starts during the regular season. He gave up 42 hits during that span, 24 strikeouts to 9 walks. This guy's hittable, and that could be lethal for a Kettleers offense that is feeling it right now.
The Kettleer offense has been lethal, and the thing about Gonzalez is he doesn't really have that wipeout stuff. We talked about how Holland was able to pitch that way without the 90-plus fastball and the wipeout slider, and Gonzalez is going to have to do the same thing. But the Kettleers have been good this year at waiting out pitchers, waiting back on those soft throwers, and attacking when it's supposed to be attacked, and I think that's what's going to happen today. The Kettleers saw Gonzalez well last time. He doesn't strike out a lot of batters, and that's a good recipe for this lineup that has been clicking on all cylinders.
The Kettleers have 46 hits in 4 playoff games, most out of anybody in the entire playoff run so far. It's the West Division Championship. Game 2, Kettleers a chance to clinch against Falmouth. We'll be back with that. Starting lineups and first pitch on the other side of this break. This is Cotuit Kettleers postseason baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Game 2 for the Kettleers in the semifinals against the Falmouth Commodores today at Lowell Park. Coach Roberts with us. Coach, let's go back a couple nights ago. Your team shut out Falmouth in Game 1, 5-0. If there's anything that's true in sports, it's probably they can't win if they don't score, and pitching staff lived up to that. How about Trey Holland and Bo Hofstra?
Yeah, how about him? Yeah, it was fun to watch. Here's this Division III pitcher and Trey out there, and showing a lot of Division I guys what to do. First, throw strikes. Secondly, change speeds and do it and be able to throw any pitch in any count. And he did a great job. And then Bo came in throwing hard and kept the ball down. The last 2 innings, his slider was pretty good and closed it out. So that was a really good pitching performance. And for us to get by with just 2 pitchers really helped our pitching staff.
It was a beautiful moment when Trey came off the mound in the 7th inning. He was all smiles, embraced by his teammates. Did you say anything to him before you took the ball?
Nope. I didn't say anything to him between any innings, because if he was still hot, I was going to let him pitch 9, and I'm sure his dad in Durham, North Carolina would be yelling, "Coach Roberts, what are you doing?" That was a special moment. There have been several special moments for pitchers coming off the mound in my years here in Cotuit, and that's one of the top 5 because first, his teammates gave him a standing ovation, and you don't see that a lot necessarily, but they came out of that dugout, man, and I guess they've nicknamed him Bulldog, which I didn't know, and I thought that
Game 2 for the Kettleers in the semifinals against the Falmouth.
Durham, North Carolina would be one of the top 5 because first, his teammates gave him a standing ovation, and you don't see that a lot necessarily, but they came out of that dugout, man, and I guess they've nicknamed him Bulldog, which I didn't know, and I thought that was great. They started it, and then the fans joined in, so that was a special moment when Trey came off the mound.
Colton Kessler and Adam Oviedo at times towards the end of the season seemed like they were struggling at the plate, but almost at the same time have caught fire. Between the two, what have you seen change at the plate? They've been a big part of this offense that's been clicking on all cylinders the last handful of games.
Experience. Their experience. Kessler in the SEC, I think, has shown his experience, and Adam, starting every day at TCU for 2 years and 2 years here, I think it's experience more than anything, and really good players step up when the competition gets better and the stakes get higher. And those two guys, along with a lot of other players and pitchers, have really stepped up. But I'm glad that you noticed those two. And I think it's their experience.
Coach, this is the one that you live for. Let's go get them today. Have fun.
Oh, yeah, it'll be great. I can't wait for the fans to roll in here. It'll be a fun atmosphere, and let's all enjoy it and see if we can head toward that next stop.
That's the plan. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, guys.
Next stop, could it be the Cape League Championship Series for the Cotuit Kettleers? We are about to find out. Gear up, soak it up. Going to be a fun Game 2 in the West Division Title Series. The Kettleers host the Falmouth Commodores on a Wednesday afternoon in Cotuit at Lowell Park, with a chance to take that next step, as Mike Roberts just told you there. Sam Niederman alongside Aram Layton here in the broadcast booth. Let's take one more look at our pitching matchup. Jackson Wolf for Cotuit, making his second start of the postseason. Finished up the regular season 0-1 with a 3.03 earned run average. He pitches against Chris Gonzalez, a left-hander for Falmouth as well, with a 2-4 record in the regular season, a 5.60 earned run average across 8 starts. It's his first appearance in the playoffs for the top-seeded Falmouth Commodores. Falmouth, the road team, they come up to the plate first. Jeff Trundy's lineup unchanged from Monday night, and it sounds like this. Hayden Cantrell, the leadoff man, playing second base. Blake Dunn bats second and plays in center field. Zach DeLoach bats third and plays in right field. Trey Cruz, the shortstop, batting fourth. Jackson Coots, the first baseman, batting fifth. Troy Claunch, the catcher, again batting sixth. Austin Langworthy, the DH, batting seventh. Steven Moretto bats eighth and plays third base. And Austin Maisel gets the call in left field, batting ninth. Once again for Jeff Trundy's Falmouth Commodores, Cantrell at second, Dunn in center, DeLoach in right, Cruz at short, Coots at first, Claunch behind the plate, Langworthy to DH, Moretto at third, and Maisel in left. Aram Layton, what does Wolfie have to do on the bump today to put his team in a position to win?
Much of what Trey Holland did 2 days ago in Game 1. He's not a guy that's going to run it up to the mid-90s. He throws a little harder than Holland, gets to the low 90s, but he's got to keep these Commodore hitters off balance, mix up pitches, and make them get themselves out. You're not going to strike an enormous amount of batters out if you're Jackson Wolf in this one. Commodores are pesky, and this guy, Hayden Cantrell, leads it off. He's pretty tough.
Let's get this thing going. Game number 2 of the West Division Championship Series. Cotuit one step away from the championship. And Jackson Wolf starts on the rubber against Hayden Cantrell. First pitch slider on the inside corner for a strike. And we are underway. First pitch clocks in just a minute late at 4:01 Eastern Time. Wolf a quick windup. 0-1 fastball on the ground left side and through the hole for a base hit. Hayden Cantrell aggressive early, and he gives Falmouth a leadoff single here in the first.
And that's a good example there of what Cantrell and a lot of these Commodore hitters can do. They're not going to hit it out of the park enormously as we've seen in the postseason, but they put the bat on the ball, and if Wolf leaves those breaking balls up, they'll be able to get enough of it to sneak it out of the infield.
Cantrell, his first hit of the postseason against Cotuit after going 0 for 4 in Game 1. He's a leadoff runner on first with nobody out in the top of one, no score. Blake Dunn at the plate, right-handed batting center fielder. Wolf out of the stretch and a throw over to Mervis at first. Let's set the Kettleer defense. Jackson Wolf, the left-handed pitcher at 6'7", 205. Cody Pasek, the catcher from Cotuit. Matt Mervis at first base, and Nick Gonzalez plays at second base. First pitch to Dunn. He flashes a bunt and runs right through. Actually did not break the plane on a check swing. That's just ball one. Dunn came out of the box to offer at a curveball from Wolf. Home plate umpire Rudy Fernbach called it a check swing, and the appeal down to Tyler Bullock at first base confirmed that. 1 ball and no strikes. Wolf ready at the belt. 1-0 home. Fastball high and away at 88 miles an hour. 2 balls and no strikes on Dunn. Casey Schmidt back at third base for Cotuit after starting at first in Game 1 of the series. Adam Oviedo, the veteran 2-year shortstop. Parker Chavers in left field. Dante Williams ranges in center field, and Arajanu in right field again. Leg lifting a throw over to first. A little low, but Mervis traps it. Cantrell on first base, 13 steals during the regular season. Second best on this Falmouth club, only to the man at the plate and Blake Dunn. 2-0. Swing and a miss. Got him on a fastball with a little bit of tail on the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike. Sunny day at Lowell Park. Clouds overhead, a little muggy after yesterday's rain. And a nice breeze that's blowing out. Wolves 2-1, a throw over to first, and Cantrell dives back in. No score in the top of one. 1 man on with nobody out. Cantrell the leadoff single. 2 balls and a strike on Dunn, who went 0 for 4 with a strikeout in Game 1. Wolf sets, closed off. Schmidt plays back at third. 2-1. Slider upstairs. Check swing appeal to Bullock at first base. He did not go around. 3 balls and 1 strike. 4-man umpiring crew for the postseason in the Cape League. Rudy Fernbach, the crew chief and home plate umpire. Tyler Bullock at first base. Jeff Merzel at second base. And it's Tom Ryberg, the third base umpire. Wolf ready at the belt. 3-1. Hack and a miss on a high fastball. Full count now on Blake Dunn. Jackson Wolf, the lanky lefty from Gahanna, Ohio, just outside of Columbus. Working against the Western Michigan outfielder in Dunn. And before another pitch, a throw over to first to check on Cantrell.
Good throw over there. You know Cantrell could be on the move. As you said, Sam, earlier, 13 stolen bases and a good count to run on with it full and nobody out.
Wolfie's 3-2. Fastball that runs outside, and that's ball 4. Falmouth has their first 2 base runners aboard here. Cantrell, the leadoff single. He goes up to second base after Dunn walks. There are 2 on for the Doors and nobody out here in the top of the first inning. Scoreless ball game, top of the first. First and second, nobody away for the Cape League batting champion Zach DeLoach. The right fielder out of Texas A&M bats from the left side. He's been terrific in the postseason as well. 8 of 16 with 2 runs batted in, riding a 9-game hitting streak. Wolf out of the stretch, Schmidt in at third. And the first pitch, sliced away foul into the parking lot. 91-mile-an-hour fastball from Wolf. No balls and 1 strike on DeLoach.
And DeLoach has been the type of guy that you're okay with facing with the bases empty. He's a contact hitter, will be a tough guy to strike out. But now with nobody out and 2 aboard, this is not the type of batter you want to face. He's consistent, and he drives runs in. He's a tough out.
0-1 home. Looping curveball in the other batter's box. 1 ball and 1 strike. DeLoach finished ahead of Nick Gonzalez for the Cape League batting crown. Checked out of the regular season with a .353 batting average, 5 home runs and 23 runs batted in. Nothing's changed in the postseason. He's hitting .500, including a 3-for-4 night against Cotuit in Game 1. 1-1 fastball, looped right up the middle, into center field for a base hit. Cantrell given the stop sign at third. Falmouth with a single from Zach DeLoach, and that loads up the bases with nobody out here in the first.
That's his game right there. Just singles, sprays them all over the field. That's his 4th hit of the series. All 4 are base hits, and that's what he does, and that's why you really want to keep base runners off the base paths when you're facing a guy like DeLoach, because that's where he can really hurt you. Fortunately, he hit it so hard that nobody was able to score.
Now it looks like it's deja vu all over again for Jackson Wolf and the Kettleers, who gave up 6 runs in Wolf's last start, all of those in the first inning against Wareham to begin the postseason. Now Falmouth has the bases loaded with nobody out in the first inning. No score, but Trey Cruz could change that. Right-handed batting shortstop from Rice University. Infield in, first pitch from Wolf, a curveball hammered and foul down the left field line. It ruffled into the trees back behind the Kettleer bullpen that's right by the left field foul pole. No balls and 1 strike on Cruz. Cotuit positions the infield in. 2 defenders on either side. 0-1 slider, popped away foul on the right side. No balls and 2 strikes on Cruz.
Good job by Wolfie to battle back here and get way ahead of their cleanup hitter. Got him off balance. Now you're ahead with 2 strikes. You got a lot to work with. Just can't give something over the plate here that he can take advantage of.
0-2. Fastball hit on the infield into the air. Right side, Mervis tracks in over the mound onto the third base side, and he makes the play for out number 1.
Great job there by Wolf. Set him up with 2 breaking balls on his front foot to start the at-bat, then busts a fastball in on his hands, and that's exactly what you have to do as a left-handed pitcher against a righty to try and get him off balance and jam him.
It's a huge out number 1 for Jackson Wolf and the Kettleers here in the first. Base is still loaded with 1 out. 0-0, and here's Jackson Coots. The big gruffled first baseman from Rhode Island bats from the left side, infield creeping in. First pitch from Wolf, curveball blocked away by Pasek. He was able to shed it off up the third baseline to keep Cantrell at bay. 1 ball and no strikes. Cantrell a leadoff single. Dunn walked on a 3-2 count, and Deloach singled to straightaway center. All 3 on base here with 1 away. No score in the top of 1. The power hitting Coots at the plate, infield still in by a good step and a half. 1-0. Fastball zip back into the netting behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Coots, the second most hits on this Falmouth club throughout the postseason. 7 in 16 at-bats, 2 runs batted in. He's on a mini 4-game hitting streak. Went 2 for 4 on Monday night. Wolves 1-1. Curveball into the dirt. Sliding stop by Pasek. 2 balls and 1 strike. Coots, a muscular frame, 6'3", 245 pounds. A native Mainer from Orono. Plays for the Rhody Rams at the University of Rhode Island. 2-1. Fastball. Spit on the ground, past third base, foul. Just behind it, and that evens up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Wolf looks like he's settling in now, getting ahead of batters and working inside and outside, changing speeds. This is a really big second out here to give the infield some room with 2 away. Coots has been a tough out, though, all postseason long.
Bases loaded, 1 out. 2-2. Fastball framed away, but it doesn't get the call from Rudy Fernbach. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Falmouth threatening early in the top of the first inning. No score yet, but the bases loaded for the Commodores with only 1 down and Jackson Coots at the plate. Infield in for Cotuit, 2-2. 3-2. Fastball right on top of it. Fouled back to the screen. We'll do a 3-2 again. Cotuit's crowd looks on from the third base side. That entire grandstand packed to the gills. All the corners filled up for Game 2 of the Western Division Championship Series. Lots of lawn chairs on the left side, too. 3-2 curveball down and away. Ball 4. Falmouth on the board first. Jackson Coots works a 1-out walk with the bases loaded. Hayden Cantrell scores, and the Kettleers now trail 1-0.
Tough at-bat there when Coots works a full count with the bases loaded. You got to give in to him, and Wolf was trying too hard to just pick a perfect spot, and unfortunately it got away from him a little bit off the plate, but a good job by Coots to work a full count and put all the pressure on the pitcher and Wolf.
Falmouth now leads 1-0. Coots up to first base, Deloach to second, Dunn up to third, and Cantrell was the runner who scored. Bases loaded again, and only 1 out still for Troy Claunch, right-handed batting catcher from Oregon State. Infield still in for the Kettleers. Wolf still out of the stretch on the third base side of the rubber. He deals in a fastball, and that's poked into right field for a base hit. Dunn trots in to score, and Falmouth makes it a 2-0 game on a 1-out RBI single from Troy Claunch. Assembly line-like offense at the plate for Falmouth. 5 of 6 base runners have reached to open up the game against Jackson Wolf. And it's now 2-0 with only 1 out in the first and the bases loaded once more. Mike Roberts comes out of the third base dugout. I said it a little bit earlier, but this is almost a replay of what we saw in the first inning against Wareham in the opening round of the playoffs. Chris Holcomb is getting loose frantically in the pen for the Kettleers. He was the guy that rescued Cotuit in that game with 4 crucial innings of long relief. Got the final out in the first, and it looks like it might be the same thing again here in the first inning of Game 2 of the West Division Championship. Mike Roberts just flashed a hand over to the bullpen, looking that way for his local left-hander in Chris Holcomb. Hopefully Jackson Wolf is okay. We mentioned the back spasms too. Didn't look like his fastball had enough velocity and not as enough whip and life on it as we normally have seen from him.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Sam. The velocity was not there for Wolf, barely touching 90. I think he did not touch 90 once the entire inning, if I'm not mistaken, right around 86 to 88 on the fastball. He's normally 90 to 92, and you wonder if that back is still bothering him a little bit, and you respect Jackson Wolf for trying to go back out there and perform, but unfortunately it just looks like he's not 100%.
Falmouth now leads 2-0. Kettleers go to the bullpen. Only 1 out in the first. We've seen this movie before. How will it end up for the Kettleers this time? We'll find out on the Cape Cod Baseball Network after this. Down 2-0 early already against Falmouth. Only 1 out here in the first inning. And Jackson Wolf has exited this ball game for the Kettleers. His day finishes after only a third of an inning pitched. He's responsible for all 3 runners on. Chris Holcomb comes out of the pen again, and he bends in a breaking ball for strike 1 on Austin Langworthy. So it's 7, 8, and 9 potentially for Falmouth in this frame with only 1 out and the bases loaded. Holcomb got relief of Wolf back in Game 1 of the first round and went 4 shutout innings. 1 curveball down and away here, 1 ball and 1 strike. Holcomb, or Hulk as he's been affectionately known by all the Cotuit fans and his teammates, 6'3", 190 pounds, a junior from Marston's Mills, Mass, right down the road from Lowell Park. 1-1, swing and a miss on a curveball. Hulk pulls the string on Langworthy and gets up in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Falmouth posted up 2 already. A bases loaded by Jackson Coots. A walk there helped in a run to make it 1-0. And then Troy Claunch, the RBI single. 1-2 breaking ball. Just a hair inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Langworthy.
He buckled Langworthy back and forth there. You could see how badly he was fooled. Fortunately for Langworthy, it just crossed the plate inside and high, but a great pitch by Holcomb.
Bases loaded for Falmouth, 1 out in the first. Infield in for Cotuit. A 2-2 fastball at 91 miles an hour, stopped by Pasek to his left. 3 balls and 2 strikes. It's the Cape Cod native duo here with Holcomb on the mound and Pasek behind the plate. 2-0 Falmouth in the first inning. 3-2 fastball, tapped over to second. Gonzalez goes over to first. That's all he gets for out number 2. Deloach scores from third, and Falmouth makes it a 3-0 advantage here in the first inning.
That ball hit so softly, it worked in the Commodores' favor. By the time it got to Nick Gonzalez, the run was home, and he could only go to first. Even with the infield drawn in, that dribbler just too slow to get the out at home.
Austin Langworthy credited with an RBI ground out off his end of the bat to the second baseman Gonzalez. And Falmouth has scored on the last 3 batters. It's now 3-0. 2 outs in second and third now for the Doors. Here's the number 8 man, Steven Moretto. Ball 1 from Chris Holcomb. Moretto 2 for 13 in the playoffs, had a key 3-run home run, and Falmouth's Game 3 victory over Bourne in the first round. 0 for 3 on Monday against Cotuit. 1-0 fastball, driven down the line and right. Anu tracks over into foul ground and slides to make the catch. Arajanu on the run, and that's out number 3 for the Kettleers here in the first inning. Chris Holcomb comes in relief of Jackson Wolf to minimize the damage, but Falmouth strikes first. 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and a couple left in scoring position, and we're on to the bottom of 1 at Lowell Park. Cotuit gets a chance at the plate when we return. This is Kettleer Postseason Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Gladstone's getting them fired up on the third base grandstand. Going to need to. Cotuit trails 3-0 in the bottom of the first inning against Falmouth. Kettleer's starting lineup goes to the plate like this. Nick Gonzalez, the leadoff man, playing second base. Matt Mervis plays first base and bats second. Arajanu plays right field and bats third. Casey Schmidt, the fourth batter, playing third base. Colton Kessler bats fifth and is the DH. Parker Chavers bats sixth and plays left field. Adam Oviedo, the shortstop, batting seventh. Dante Williams, the center fielder, batting eighth. And Cody Pasek is the catcher, hitting ninth. Jackson Wolf was the starting pitcher for the Kettleers. He exited the first inning, giving up 3 runs on 3 hits. Only lasted a third of an inning. Chris Holcomb got the last 2 outs. And his counterpart takes the mound for the first time this afternoon in Chris Gonzalez, a left-hander from Stetson University. He made 8 starts in the regular season. This is his first postseason start. 6'1", 210 pounds, a junior from Miami. And he did face the Kettleers in his last outing in the regular season finale. Was on the hook for the loss in that game. Gave up 3 runs over 3 innings, allowed 6 hits, and walked 1. And Cotuit's potent lineup with a challenge early in this Game 2 of the Western Division Championship Series. Already down 3-0 here in the bottom of the first inning.
They came back from worst in Game 1 against the Gatemen. It was 6-0, and they were able to score 7 unanswered. So 3, just half of it. We'll see what the offense can do.
Gonzalez winds and delivers, and Nick slaps a single into the left center gap. Nick Gonzalez beats Chris Gonzalez on the first pitch that he sees, and the Kettleers have a leadoff runner aboard here in the bottom of 1.
And that's been his story all season long. Nick likes to jump on that first pitch in the leadoff spot, gets a nice cookie fastball belt high, and lines it into the left center gap. Mervis, pretty similar with what he does, so we'll see if he attacks the first pitch as well.
You called it a cookie. Nick Gonzalez eats fastballs for breakfast. He has cranked out the most hits in the Cape League, now on a 13-game hitting streak here in the postseason. That's his 7th of the playoffs. Man on first with nobody out. 3-0 Falmouth. And here's Matt Mervis, left-handed batting first baseman. Gonzalez's first pitch, a breaking ball, spotted on the inside corner for strike 1. Mervis 5 of 19 in this playoff run. 2 home runs and 5 runs driven in. Gonzalez stares into Klontz for the sign. That's the duo on the mound and behind the plate. The lefty comes set and delivers. Breaking ball away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rest of the Falmouth defense, Jackson Coots positioned at first base, holding on the runner in Gonzalez. Cantrell at second base. Stephen Moretto, the third baseman. And Trey Cruz at shortstop. 1-1 fastball, nicked off the hands by Mervis. Backhand scoop by Gonzalez, who hustles it over towards Coots at first for out number 1.
That was a good pitch there by Gonzalez. Set him up with 2 breaking balls, one inner on the inner half, then one away, then ran a 2-seamer in on the hands, and that's how you saw Mervis get so crowded. But worse things could happen there. You advance the run to second base. You're not going to try and get all 3 right here, as nice as that would be. You got an RBI opportunity now for one of your best hitters as of late.
So Mervis moves over Nick Gonzalez to second base. Man on second for Cotuit with 1 out here in the bottom of 1. 3-0 Falmouth. Arajanu at the plate. Switch hitting right fielder who bats from the right side. Gonzalez to the plate. Yanked a curveball underneath his bat. Strike 1. Falmouth's outfield from left to right. Austin Maisel, Blake Dunn, and Zach DeLoach. Infield playing back. Nobody holding on Nick, who leads at second base. Gonzalez looks in on the third base side of the rubber. Stares back to the runner. Now the 0-1. Change up just off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Kettleers are still rocking the maroon practice jerseys on white pants with maroon pinstripes. White block letters and numbers and Kettleers baseball across the front. They've been wearing those practice uniforms ever since the regular season doubleheader that ended the season in Falmouth at the end of July. So you can make it 7 consecutive games for Cotuit in these unis. They currently hold a 3-2 record, or 4-2 record rather, while wearing them. Gonzalez steps off. It's got to be pretty good mojo for these guys. They enjoy it. It's comfortable. It's just your classic dry fit t-shirt. Gonzalez comes set. Neutral on the feet, and he deals in another curveball, this time outside. 2 balls and 1 strike on Araj. Arajanu, 6 hits and 15 at-bats throughout this postseason. 5 runs batted in, and 3 walks after having no walks in the regular season. Anu went 2 for 5 with a run scored in Monday's Game 1 win. Gonzalez steps off the rubber and now asks for his catcher Troy Klontz to go out there and visit with them. Falmouth in their villainous black road uniforms, black tops on gray pants, trimmed in maroon, white, and black, maroon numbers, and Falmouth across the chest, black caps with a maroon F on the front.
It's a big opportunity for the Kettleers here to answer back, at least get 1. It just gets that momentum going for an offense that's been clicking. You don't want to go into the second inning with a 0 after the Commodores put up 3.
Runner on second with 1 out. 2-1, grounded up the middle. What a pick by Gonzalez, leaping off the mound and an underhand toss to Coots for out number 2. Chris Gonzalez, reactionary defense on the hill for Falmouth. He robs Anu of a single up the middle. The second out of the inning advances Nick Gonzalez up to third base, but it could have been a 3-1 game if it wasn't for that great play.
Good piece there by Anu, and like you said, Sam, an even better play at the mound by Gonzalez. Great reactions. It was pretty hard hit, but Anu was just jammed on that one a little bit, and now it's up to Casey Schmidt to try and get a single here.
3-0 Falmouth, bottom of the first inning. Runner on third and 2 outs for the Kettleers at the plate. Casey Schmidt, the man at the bat. Right-handed batting third baseman. Gonzalez begins with a curveball on the bottom part of the zone for strike 1. Schmidt just 3 for 15 in the postseason so far. 1 big-time home run against Wareham in Game 2 of the first round with a couple driven in. 1 for 4 with a run in Game 1. Pop up on the infield. Right side, Hayden Cantrell calls for it. And he's got it for out number 3. Chris Gonzalez works around the leadoff single by Nick Gonzalez, and the Kettleers scored no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left in scoring position. We are on to the second, 3-0 Falmouth in Game 2 here at Lowell Park. Back to Cotuit. It's the second inning at Lowell Park. Falmouth leads Cotuit 3-0. And Falmouth back at the plate in this inning. 9-1-2 due up against the left-hander Chris Holcomb. First pitch to Austin Maisel. A curveball dropped on the outside corner for 70 miles an hour and a strike. No balls in 1 strike on Maisel. 0-1 pitch. Fastball on the outside corner. 0-2 to Holcomb.
Looked like Maisel was sitting on a breaking ball there and was surprised by the fastball. He didn't even start his hands.
0-2 quickly, a curveball. Flared out to shortstop. Caught by Oviedo for out number 1. So Chris Holcomb gets the leadoff man on 3 pitches to begin the second inning. Back to the top of the Falmouth order. Hayden Cantrell and then Blake Dunn on deck. Cotuit trails 3-0. Falmouth moved the bases loaded around 3 times in the first. Hayden Cantrell 1 for 1 with a single, and he grounds one on the left side. Charging play by Schmidt. Laser throw over to first for out number 2.
It really is a laser throw across the diamond. We talk about how he can throw 90+ on the mound, but he reaches back and throws it with some momentum. That thing gets across so quickly. He's so fun to watch play at the hot corner.
Chris Holcomb gets the first 2 batters of this inning in the snap of your fingers. 2 outs and the base is empty, and here's Blake Dunn. 0 for 0 with a walk and a run scored. Hulk's first pitch, fastball tailed away foul on the right side. 0-1 on Dunn. Falmouth chased out Cotuit starter Jackson Wolf. He only lasted a third of an inning. Holcomb came in after a bases loaded walk to Jackson Coots. Curveball on the outside, just missing. 1 ball and 1 strike. It was 1-0 Falmouth, and then Wolf surrendered an RBI single to Troy Claunch that made it 2-0. Mike Roberts pulled the plug. Falmouth got another run, and then Holcomb finally got the final 2 outs. 2 balls and 1 strike on Dunn.
Holcomb just not able to get on top of those last 2 breaking balls. That's when you'll see them miss arm side. So much break to him, so he tries to start him on the outer half, but sometimes they don't come back.
Wind up in the 2-1. Split into the right center gap in the air. A new ranges back and finds it for out number 3. Chris Holcomb, much better. 1-2-3 on the mound here in the second. And we're on to the bottom of 2 at Lowell Park. Kettleers still down 3-0. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is the Western Division Championship Series on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. League postseason baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network, presented to you by Curry College. Visit online at curry.edu. And by Cape Cod Healthcare. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, and superior care. Glad you're with us on a Wednesday afternoon in Cotuit. Kettleers trailing 3-0 in the bottom of the second inning. 5, 6, and 7 due up. Colton Kessler, Parker Chavers, and Adam Oviedo. Chris Gonzalez sends in the first pitch, and it hits Kessler on the front oblique. And now the Kettleers have a base runner to lead off the bottom of 2.
Kessler's taking tougher hits behind the dish. He barely flinched at that fastball, about 86, that got him, like you said, right around the hip or oblique. And the Kettleers will take that right now. They need base runners. They're chasing 3. It's early, but need to put the pressure on Gonzalez here.
Cotuit gets the leadoff man on for the second straight inning. The Kettleers stranded Nick Gonzalez on third base to end the first. 3-0 Falmouth. Here's Parker Chavers. Breaking ball from Gonzalez over the plate for strike 1. Chavers 5 of 18 in the playoffs. 1 home run and 4 runs batted in. Kessler on first base, held on by Coots. 0-1. Curveball dives away from the batter. 1 ball and 1 strike. Chavers went 1 for 4 with an RBI single against Falmouth in Game 1 on Monday. Middle infield playing it back for a ground ball. Moretto in at third base. 1-1 fastball, dribbled off foul on the right side. Gonzalez up in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's a pretty humid day in Cotuit. The wind's blowing out just a little bit. The sun peeking out behind some clouds above. A bustling playoff crowd at Lowell Park. Gonzalez out of the stretch, looking over to Kessler. 1-2 breaking ball. Lined into center field. That's in for a hit. Parker Chavers produces his 6th hit of the postseason. And Cotuit's got 2 on with nobody out in the bottom of the second.
Nice swing there from Chavers, who's continued to improve against southpaws at the plate. And that's the approach you have to have. Inside outs that right into left center field, and that's a great swing from a guy who's starting to come around at the plate as well.
Chavers gives Cotuit a chance. First and second, nobody out. Kettleers down 3-0 in the bottom of the second, and it's Adam Oviedo at the plate. Right-handed batting shortstop. Gonzalez first pitch, a curveball outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Oviedo, another key contributor in this playoff run for the Kettleers. 5 of 15 at the plate. 4 runs batted in, including 2 in a 1 for 3 performance in Game 1 of this series. Chavers leads at first. Coots plays in at first. Same thing with Moretto at third. Nobody holds Kessler at second. Gonzalez steps off. This Kettleer offense has emerged, and they have been an unstoppable force throughout the playoffs. 48 hits in 4+ games. 6 home runs to lead the Cape League. 24 walks to just 26 strikeouts. Everything clicking at the plate. 1-0. Oviedo shows bunt, pushes it up the left side, and it is scooped up by Moretto. Got him just in time at first base. Adam Oviedo was sacrificed to get both runners up to second and third, but consolation for Falmouth as Moretto charged in. He had Gonzalez crashing down on him. Looked like they might have nicked the ball in between each other. Somehow Moretto was able to come up with it and gun it on to first base for out number 1.
That was bang, bang, and Mike Roberts is livid. You can see him sharing a couple words across the diamond with Tyler Bullock at first base, but that was as close as you can get, and that's a tough out for the Kettleers, even though Oviedo was giving himself up. A perfect bunt. Bases loaded and no outs versus second and third with 1 out. Big difference.
Mike Roberts' club executes a small ball. Don't get a cherry on top, though. Oviedo out at first. Tyler Bullock, the first base umpire, was staring across the way as Coach barked at him from the third base box. But that's about all she wrote for that little sequence. Now second and third for the Kettleers. 1 out in the bottom of 2. 3-0 Falmouth. Dante Williams at the plate. First pitch curveball from Gonzalez. Off the plate, ball 1. Williams, a left-handed batter. 4 hits in 15 playoff at-bats. He's driven in 3 runs. He's gotten on base a lot. He scored 2 runs in the Game 1 win, going 1 for 4. Gonzalez set. 1-0 off-speed pitch inside this time. 2 balls and no strikes. Kessler was hit by the first pitch of this inning. Shavers a single into shallow center. Oviedo the sacrifice to get 2 in scoring position for Cotuit with only 1 down here in the bottom of 2. Moretto in on the edge of the grass at third. 2-0 breaking ball from Gonzalez. Gets away from Claunch, who slides behind home plate to smother it. And Kessler stays put at third base.
Good decision there by Kessler. We know he's not a burner at third, and that pitch would just make it 3-0 here. With 1 out, you don't want to make the second out at home when you're chasing 3. And give your guy Dante Williams an opportunity to try and lift one into the outfield at the very least. Good job to shut it down there by Kessler, who started towards home.
Claunch recovered just in time. Kessler a big grin on his face at third. Shavers behind him at second. 3-0 Falmouth. 1 out, here's a 3-0. Williams takes a fastball just a little below the knees. And that's a walk with 1 out to load up the bases for Cotuit here in the bottom of 2.
Great job to lay off that by Williams. Might have been taken all the way, but here's the spot. Cody Pasek has been really good with handling the bat this season, but he's also struggled against left-handed pitching. He needs to avoid that double play. At the very least, the Kettleers need to get a run out of this. Try to find something high that you can lift to the outfield, because you know Gonzalez is going to try to make you roll over if you're Cody Pasek.
Falmouth up 3-0 in the bottom of the second. Bases loaded for Cody Pasek, and the Kettleers only 1 out. Infield plays back with the exception of Moretto at third. Gonzalez winds and fires a fastball at the letters, ball 1. A noticeable buzz in the Cotuit crowd at Lowell Park with the Cotuit kid and Pasek at the plate. 3 of 9 in this postseason with a home run and 4 RBI. 1-0. Fastball grounded over to first. Coots comes in, takes it to the bag himself for out number 2. But Pasek gets the Kettleers on the board early with a 2-out RBI single, or RBI ground out rather, and that plays Kessler from third to make it a 3-1 game.
You'll take that if you're the Kettleers. Chip away here, and you still got an opportunity now with Nick Gonzalez coming up and the tying run on second base. And the way Matt Mervis has been hitting, even with first open, you got to think Gonzalez, the pitcher, is going to go after the Gonzalez, the hitter.
Cotuit looking to tie up the ball game. Gonzalez, the potential go-ahead run at the plate. It's 3-1 after the Pasek ground out. 2 outs and 2 in scoring position again. Gonzalez versus Gonzalez, and this time he pulled the string on him. First pitch curveball with a huge rip and a miss. No balls and 1 strike. Gonzalez pounced on the first pitch that he saw in the bottom of the first inning and drove a single into left center. 3-1 Falmouth, second and third with 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning. Pasek's RBI ground out has the Kettleers on the board. Gonzalez winds up, 0-1. Fastball, hit back foul, and it's no balls and 2 strikes on the Cape League MVP. Gonzalez went 2 for 5 with an RBI in game 1. Now leads the Kettleers with 7 hits in this postseason. Got off to a little bit of a slower start in the Wareham season, or series rather, with only 2 hits in that one. Second and third, 2 away. Gonzalez spins the 0-2. Fastball outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mike Roberts encouraging his second baseman from New Mexico State. All-American, Cape League MVP. And a future major leaguer, according to Coach. Here's the 1-2. Curveball down and in. Good take to make it 2-2.
That is such a tough pitch to lay off of, but Gonzalez sees the ball so well at the plate. That's a pitch that starts right about belt high and just buried back in towards the back of his back right leg. And just so smart to be able to lay off that, because there's not much you can do with that pitch.
Williams off second, Shavers off third. 3-1 Falmouth with 2 outs in the second inning. 2-2. Curveball on the outside corner. Yes, sir, for Chris Gonzalez. And that's called strike 3 to end the inning. Cotuit able to get on the board with Pasek's RBI ground out, but Gonzo leaves a couple in scoring position. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on base, and we have played 2 at Lowell Park. Falmouth controls early in Game 2 of the Western Division Final. 3-1 our score. We're on to the third, and Aram Layton's got you covered with the play-by-play when we come back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Kettleers get one back, but the Commodores still in control. It's 3-1 as we start off the third inning. Middle of the Falmouth order against Chris Holcomb. It's Zach Deloche, Trey Cruz, and Jackson Coots. That's 3-4-5. Deloche 1 for 1. He singled, but that came off of Jackson Wolf, who started this ball game. Was chased out after getting just one out in the first inning. First pitch to Deloche, a breaking ball lifted soft into foul territory on the left side, but just out of play there and out of reach of Casey Schmidt. 0-1. Deloche now has a 10-game hitting streak dating back to the regular season. 17 for his last 33. 16 of those hits are just singles, though. Contact hitter that just won the batting title for the Cape Cod League, just edging out Nick Gonzalez. Breaking ball in the dirt. 1-1. Trey Cruz picks up the ball on deck and throws it into the dugout. Cruz, the cleanup hitter, waits on deck. That was the one out that Jackson Wolf was able to pick up. It was a pop out with the bases loaded to the first baseman, Matt Mervis. The 1-1 to Deloche. Fastball misses too high. 2-1. Just 86 there on the fastball from Holcomb. He'll occasionally touch 90 miles per hour. Mostly just works a fastball and a curveball. The curveball sits right around 68 to 72. The 2-1. There's the curveball. Ground ball out to Nick Gonzalez. Fields it cleanly. Throw over to first for out number 1.
A big key in this game is for Chris Holcomb to replicate what he did in Game 1 against Wareham. He's already got an inning and 2/3 under his belt, actually now 2 innings. And he has a chance to bridge the gap onto the bulkier part of the bullpen for Cotuit. In a perfect world, it would have been Jackson Wolf, Matt Mervis, and then potentially Kyle Nicholas, but now you've got to adjust on the fly.
Now it's Trey Cruz. Takes a fastball up at the eyes for a ball, 1-0. Cruz popped up with the bases loaded. Could not cash in on an RBI opportunity. Just a 200 hitter against Southpaws in the regular season as he pops one up again. Should be Mervis who makes the grab again against Cruz. He does for out number 2. But just like that, Chris Holcomb has retired the last 8 batters he's faced. And Jackson Coots will come to the plate now with 2 away in the top of the third. Coots worked a 3-2 ball 4 against Jackson Wolf to play to run back in the first. Curveball yanked just foul down the first base line. Coots has hit safely in 12 straight. That also dates back to the regular season. A guy who has swung the bat really well as of late. Finished the season strong for the Commodores. The 0-1. Fastball just misses off the plate away. 1-1. 89 that time from Holcomb. Casey Schmidt in on the grass at third base. Not really anticipating a bunt from Coots, but that's how we've seen Coach Roberts position his left side of the infield. Fastball misses down and away, now 2-1. Adam Oviedo just a couple steps towards second base there, shading up the middle, and Nick Gonzalez at second. A few steps to his left, playing the pull side for the left-handed hitter Coots. Breaking ball lifted out into center field. A few steps back for Williams. Now he comes in, makes the grab for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Chris Holcomb. He puts up another 0. Kettleers will try to continue to chip away. It's now 3-1. We'll go into the bottom of the third inning here at Lowell Park. the Kettleers in the home half of the third. It's Matt Mervis, Arajanu, then Casey Schmidt. All three were retired in the first inning against Chris Gonzalez, getting a second look at the southpaw from Stetson. First pitch to Mervis, misses inside, 1-0. Mervis grounded out to the pitcher Gonzalez for the first out back in the first, following a single by Nick Gonzalez. 1-0. Breaking ball tails into the other batter's box, 2-0. Gonzalez has pitched 2 innings and surrendered 1 run on 2 Cotuit Kettleer hits. He's walked 1 and plunked 1. The 2-0 to Mervis. That one misses inside. Now 3 balls and no strikes. Mervis has 2 home runs in this postseason. 5 hits. He's 5 for 19 coming into this one. That fastball just dots the inside corner. 3-1 here to the left-handed hitting first baseman from Duke. The 3-1 pitch to Mervis. Lifted out into left field. Going back is Maisel towards the wall, and he makes the grab just by the shadows of the trees with about 5 feet to spare for out number 1.
Gonzalez and Falmouth just dodged a bullet. Mervis has had such a power surge throughout the playoffs, and he just missed that baseball with a 3-1 count. Would have been a huge hit to get the Kettleers back within 1 run.
Wind blowing out here at Lowell Park as the American flag to the left of the scoreboard would indicate. Straight out to center field, maybe left center a tad. But Mervis just could not quite get enough of that one, even with the wind. So 1 out now for Arajanu. Fastball misses away. 1 ball, no strikes. Anu, the switch hitter, batting from the right side against the lefty Gonzalez. He also grounded out to the pitcher in his first at-bat, but that one was hit hard. A reactionary play by the pitcher Gonzalez to rob Anu of a potential single up the middle. The 1-0. Ground ball to the right side. Scooped by the third baseman. Fired across a diamond Moretto for out number 2. The 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the third. Casey Schmidt, the last hope to try and extend this inning. Colton Kessler waits on deck. Schmidt popped up to second base to end the first inning, stranding Nick Gonzalez at third. Gets another look at the pitcher Gonzalez with 2 outs here. Kessler on deck, Chavers in the hole. First pitch to Schmidt is a called strike below the knees. He did not like it, and you can hear Mike Roberts chirping from the dugout. He's been frustrated with the strike zone from Rudy Fernbach at home plate early in this one. Infield plays the pole for the right-handed hitting Schmidt. The pitch, breaking ball, he hits it into right center field. Going back is Deloche. He's got a beat on it and makes the grab. And deep right center field for out number 3. So the Kettleers are set down in order here. 1-2-3 inning for Gonzalez, and we'll go into the 4th. It's 3-1 Commodores. Chris Holcomb with the ball on the mound for the 4th inning. He has worked a perfect 2 2/3 innings in relief of Jackson Wolf. And he'll get 6, 7, 8, Troy Claunch, Austin Langworthy, and Steven Moretto. Claunch singled back in the 1st inning. That was against the starter Wolf. Takes a fastball just down and in for a ball. 1-0 here to the catcher from Oregon State. Gets the start for the 2nd consecutive game. Out of the windup is Holcomb. Breaking ball misses away in the other batter's box. Now 2-0. Claunch, a .226 hitter in the regular season. Fouls one away here. Now 2-1. 88 on the gun there from Holcomb on a fastball that was up and out on the outer half of the strike zone around the letter region. Matt Nelson, the backup catcher, has only made 1 appearance in the postseason, 4 at-bats. It's been Troy Claunch getting the bulk of the duty behind the dish. He's 2 for 12 in this postseason. Fastball strike at the knees, now 2-2. On deck is Austin Langworthy. In the hole, Steven Moretto. Holcomb has battled back to even things up at 2-2 here to the right-handed hitting catcher. Swing and a miss, and it just pops out of the glove. Actually a foul tip there from Troy Claunch, who just stays alive. So Pasek not able to hold on to that foul tip. Count remains at 2-2. Infield plays straight up. Outfield playing slightly pull side with Dante Williams to the left of second base. And he pushes it the other way into right field for a base hit. So Troy Claunch goes the other way to lead off the 4th inning. He picks up the first hit against Chris Holcomb. And now Austin Langworthy will come to the plate.
Chris Holcomb has been really smooth up until this point, retiring 8 of the first batters he faced in relief of Jackson Wolf. But Claunch gets the first single off the lefty out of the Kettleer bullpen, and now you just rebound. I like this matchup for Hulk here against Langworthy with the lefty-lefty.
Langworthy was just 3 for 17 against Southpaws in the regular season. He squares to bunt, but a breaking ball misses away. Holcomb worked 4 scoreless innings in relief of Wolf in Game 1 of the postseason against the Gatemen in Wareham. Has been sharp in relief of Wolf again here today. No square this time. That fastball misses low, 2-0. Casey Schmidt a couple steps inside the grass on the third base side. Middle of the infield still playing the double play. Langworthy squared on the first pitch. Did not show bunt on the second, but it's 2-0. Swings at the 2-0, fouls it away, now 2-1. Casey Schmidt takes a step back with that 1 strike. Still playing in, though, anticipating a potential bunt. Merv is holding on, the runner at first base in Claunch, who did not pick up a stolen base in the entire regular season. The catcher not much of a threat to run. The 2-1. Breaking ball, called strike. Now 2-2. 2 consecutive batters here that Holcomb fell behind 2-0, then pumped in 2 consecutive strikes to even the count. Schmidt all the way back now at third base. Infield playing straight up. They want 2. The 2-2. Fastball just misses off the plate away, and that'll make things full.
A beautiful spot by Holcomb. 91 miles an hour away from the left-handed batter. Close call, and both him and Pasek thought they would have had it.
That's as hard as you'll see Holcomb throw it. Reached back for a little extra there, and Pasek tried to frame it on the outer half. The payoff pitch, ground ball, just foul down the first base line. We'll do 3-2 again. 3-2 count, nobody out. Troy Claunch on first base. Steven Moretto waits on deck. The 7-hitter Langworthy at the plate. Moretto 8, Mazel 9 in the hole. Holcomb trying to pick up the first out of the inning. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Blew a fastball by him for out number 1. A big strikeout for Chris Holcomb. His first of the ball game, and now 1 away for Steven Moretto, the 8-hitter and the third baseman.
It's almost as if Falmouth is getting a double dose of Trey Holland with Holcomb on the mound. You see the lefty again with a lot of breaking stuff, a slow curveball, but the difference is the fastball. Holland sits low 80s, mid 80s tops with his fastball, whereas Holcomb can pump it up to 90 miles an hour, and he just blazed it past Langworthy there.
Pick off over to first, Conch back standing up. It's a good point, Sam, because both left-handed pitchers work with a 68 to 72 mile per hour bender, but it's been effective against these Commodores. Trey Holland worked 6 shutout innings in game 1 of this series. First pitch breaking ball, there it is to Steven Moretto, a called strike on the inner half. 0-1. Moretto popped out to right field to end the first inning. A nice grab in foul territory by Arajanu, who traveled a long way to make the grab. Went into a slide, actually, into the corner. The 0-1. Line drive right back up the box. Laying out is Nick Gonzalez, but he's not able to snag it. A base hit there for Steve Moretto, and he's aboard. 1 out, 2 on, and now it's Austin Maisel, the 9-hitter.
Good effort by Gonzalez up the middle, but that ball just had an inch or two on him, and it was able to roll into center. Falmouth starting to feel it now at the plate. 3 runs on 5 hits so far, and a couple of hits in this inning at the top of their order looming.
This inning is the first time that Holcomb has had to work out of the stretch since he came out of the bullpen. Trying to get a ground ball here to get out of the inning. First pitch bender, fouled away towards the third base grandstand for strike 1. Maisel won the 10th Man Award for the Cape Cod League. That goes to the best non-starter in the Cape. Maisel had a strong regular season for the Commodores. Hit .371 in 62 at-bats. Fastball dots the outside corner. 0-2 here to the 9-hitter from Holy Cross University. Holcomb ahead 0-2. Checks on Conch at second base, kicks and deals. Ground ball over to Nick Gonzalez, who lays out but can't make the grab. Into right field, coming around third but held up is Conch. Strong throw in from Manu is cut off by the first baseman Mervis. So the bases are loaded here, and back to the top of the order with Hayden Cantrell.
Again, another play that Nick Gonzalez nearly was able to save, but just wasn't able to dive quick enough to his left to stop that hard ground ball from Maisel. And now Falmouth has the bases loaded again. And you really got to be careful here against Hayden Cantrell. You'd prefer to have him hit a weak ground ball so your infield can go home.
Cantrell, a true switch hitter, batting from the right side against the southpaw. .316 against left-handed pitching in the regular season. .315 against right-handed pitching. Fastball misses down and in. Cantrell 1 for 2. He led the ball game off with a base hit off of Jackson Wolf, then grounded out to third base. That was against Holcomb. Infield drawn in with 1 out. Bases are loaded for the leadoff hitter Cantrell. The 1-0. Bender, call it strike. Just 67 there on the breaking ball from Chris Holcomb. Evens things up at 1-1. Blake Dunn waits on deck. He's 0 for 1 with a walk and a flyout. Holcomb trying to pick up a big second out here. Bases are loaded in the 4th inning. 3-1 Commodores. Another breaking ball. Called strike on the inner half. And Hayden Cantrell disagreed with Fernbach, the home plate umpire, pointing down to the ground, probably where he thought that pitch crossed. But it's a called strike, too. And now Holcomb way ahead, trying to pick up a big strikeout. Cantrell wants contact. Holcomb wants a punch out here with a 1-2 count. Fastball, swing and a miss. Holcomb wins the battle. Out number 2 here via the strikeout to Hayden Cantrell. And now it's Blake Dunn with the bases loaded and 2 outs.
There's already a lot of added tension and pressure in this game for both clubs with the Cotuit Kettleers at home this afternoon. It makes every out that much bigger. You get that much more energy from it. And Chris Holcomb was able to take advantage of the strike zone there and climb the ladder to get Cantrell.
A great job at changing speeds. Went from the high 60s curveball to the 90-mile-per-hour fastball. Curveball, that's hung. Crushed out into center field. Going back is Williams towards the wall, and he makes the grab. Dante Williams saves multiple runs on a sliding catch to dead center field and keeps this game at 3-1. How about that? Chris Holcomb escapes with the help of Dante Williams, and we'll go into the bottom of the 4th. The Kettleers are chasing 2 runs. plate. Left-handed hitting catcher who does the DHing today. We'll get another look at Chris Gonzalez. Kessler was hit by the first pitch he saw from the southpaw. Got him right in the hip. Breaking ball in the other batter's box, 1-0. That led off the second inning. He came around to score on a ground ball to first base by Cody Pasek. That's the only run for the Kettleers in this ball game. 3-1 in the fourth. Fouled away. Now 1-1. After the end of the top of the fourth inning there, with that grab by Dante Williams, he came off to an energized Kettleer crowd. The entire third base grandstand gave the center fielder a standing ovation. They have been energized in this ball game. Another breaking ball misses away to Kessler. Packed house here at Lowell Park. Third base grandstand with hardly a seat open. Lawn chairs covering the grass down the left field line. And the first base grandstand completely full as well. 2-1. Strike at the knees, now 2-2. Kessler has been swinging a hot bat in the postseason for the Kettleers. 5 hits since the start of the playoffs. That matches his total for the entire month of July in the regular season. He had a great spring at Kentucky, hit .291. The 2-2 fouled straight away, and that's stuck in the fence there, right in front of us in the press box. Another foul ball is going to have to knock that one down.
If I could walk out onto the roof here, I could poke it out.
We'll see how long that ball stays nestled in the fence. But now still 2-2 to Kessler. Curveball fouled away. Nice little battle between the two lefties.
You just mentioned it, Aram. He has gotten so much better at making contact in general. Just that foul ball right there, hanging in on an inside curveball and poking it foul the other way to battle.
The 2-2 again. Line drive into center field, a base hit for Colton Kessler. Make that 6 in the postseason, and he's topped that July total. He is on fire at the plate.
He was one of those guys when you first arrived at camp here in Lowell Park and you saw him and you just thought, this guy's a dude. And he is a dude. He's 6'3", 220 pounds. He looks the part. He has swagger and confidence, and he's gotten all of that back. He has really owned his role as this team's DH with Pasek as the catcher, and he has been invaluable throughout the postseason.
Now Parker Chavers, who swings at the first pitch, lifted out into center field, just missed under it, as Dunn coasts under the fly ball for out number 2. Out number 1, there. So 1 on, 1 out. Chavers just missed that one. A couple of deep fly balls from the Kettleers the last couple innings. And now it's Adam Oviedo, who sacked bunted back in the second inning. Nearly beat it out at first, a bang-bang play. Tyler Bullock at first base called him out. Mike Roberts was not too happy with the call. And going back to Kessler, you don't hit .291 in the SEC by accident, and he had a great spring. First pitch fouled away there, 0-1 to Ovi. Oviedo, another guy that has just come around at the plate, has swung a hot bat in the postseason and has continued to just be a leader at the bottom of the order for the Kettleers. 333, 5 for 15 in these playoffs. 0-1 in the dirt, gets away from the catcher Clonch, and Kessler will coast into second base. So now the Kettleers have their second run in scoring position with a 1-1 count to their hot-hitting shortstop. So 1-1 to the transfer to Oral Roberts this spring from TCU. Was a 2-year starter at TCU. A 2-year starter for the Kettleers. A veteran on this ball club that has helped them down the stretch here. Game 2 of the Western Division Finals. Yanked foul down the third base line.
Good pick, Coach.
Coach Roberts has been energized. We had a fun pregame interview with him in Game 1 at Falmouth. And a fun one today, a little bit shorter. 8 minutes on the first one at Gov Fuller, coming off of that win against the Gatemen in Game 3.
I'm calling that one story time.
That was story time from Coach Roberts, and he's been having a blast. So have the players. Ground ball out to third base, cut off by Moretto. A spin, a throw, and he gets Oviedo at first base. A nice play showing off the range by Steven Moretto.
Yeah, that's 2 good plays by Moretto now. First on the sac bunt against Oviedo, and now a twirling throw for out number 2 in the fourth. And you gotta love Jackson Coots. I mean, that guy is just a grinder, a dirt dog over there at first base for Falmouth. Not only is he so imposing at the plate, but he's a good defender over there at first as well.
He has been scrappy in the postseason in the latter half of the season. Finished the regular season hitting .375 over his last 10 games, and he's been just as good in the postseason, hitting .438, 7 for 16. So now it's Dante Williams with 2 outs, man on second. Takes a huge swing through a first pitch breaking ball and fouls it straight back. You could see his head yank off of that one. The helmet almost falling off of his head. Nothing in one here to Dante, who walked back in the second inning. That walk loaded the bases. Then Cody Pasek grounded out to first base to plate the only run for the Kettleers. 1 run on 3 hits for Cotuit. 3 runs on 6 hits for the Commodores. Bottom of the 4th inning. Colton Kessler stands out at second base. He singled. The 0-1. Breaking ball on the inner half for a strike. 0-2. Williams trying to stay alive. The 9-hitter Cody Pasek waits on deck. Williams takes a deep breath. Gets back in the batter's box. Will try and stay alive with 2 strikes. The 0-2. Fastball just misses away. 1-2. Trey Cruz, a shortstop, shading Kessler over by second base. Hayden Cantrell playing up the middle as well. A unique shift for a left-handed hitter. A big gap on the right side there between first and second base. Jackson Coots playing the pole on the first base line. The 1-2. Fouled away. Williams able to stay alive. Another soft-throwing lefty here for the Commodores with Chris Gonzalez. We have not seen him really top 86 on the mound. Sits around the mid-80s. Curveball in the mid-70s.
Man, a ton of first pitch curveballs to the Cotuit hitters. They've done a good job of fighting him. Now let's see if Williams can flip it. He saved 3 runs defensively to end the 3rd inning. He could flip this game and tie it with a big swing here, or at least get back within 1 with a single.
1 run at a time if you're the Kettleers. Williams does have the power to hit it out. Hit 2 home runs in the regular season. The 1-2. In the dirt. Good block there by Claunch to keep Kessler at second base. Kessler took a few hard shuffle steps towards third, but Claunch stared him down with the ball right in front of him. Now 2-2 to Williams. The Kettleers were able to get to Gonzalez in the regular season finale for 3 earned runs and 6 hits in 3 innings pitched in a 13-2 victory. Just 1 run here in 3 innings so far. Another ball yanked foul. Battle brewing between Williams and Gonzalez.
The more Cotuit sees Gonzalez on the mound, the better of a look they're going to see. The top of the order is due up after Cody Pasek, who's on deck. It'll be the 3rd time through. Remember, Chris Gonzalez has given up at least 5 hits in each of his 8 starts coming into this game. He's only allowed 3 and 1 run on 3 2/3 innings of work here.
Dante trying to pick up hit number 4, the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Gonzalez strikes him out and strands Kessler at second base and puts up another 0 here for the Commodores. We'll go into the 5th inning. It's 3-1 Falmouth at Lowell Park in this playoff.
Falmouth leads Cotuit 3-1. We are in the top of the 5th inning at Lowell Park. This is Game 2 of the Western Division Championship Series. Cotuit leads the series 1-0. Trailing on the scoreboard here, and a new pitcher on for the Kettleers out of the bullpen. It's Evan Justice who enters the game. Left-hander out of NC State, 6'4", 190 pounds. A junior from Richmond, Virginia. He replaces Chris Holcomb. Hulk goes 3 2/3 innings, allows no runs on 3 hits, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. Same kind of idea for Mike Roberts, third lefty to come into this ball game, and another guy that features a looping curveball.
Well, Holcomb, to start, gave his team a chance here once again, coming in mop-up duty. And Evan Justice, a guy that throws a little bit harder on the mound, can run it up to 93. But again, that curveball is a big factor in his success.
Justice up against the middle of the Falmouth order, 3, 4, and 5, and it begins with Zach DeLoach, who checks his swing at a curveball for ball 1. Trey Cruz on deck, and then Jackson Coots waiting in the hole in the 5 spot. 3-1 Falmouth, top of the 5th inning. Schmidt plays in on the grass at third. DeLoach, the left-handed batter, 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored in the first. Justice stares into Pasek. 1-0. High chopper over to second. Backhand pick at the hit by Gonzalez. Throw off the back foot. Got him in time for out number 1.
DeLoach is sneaky fast up the line there. Gave Gonzalez a run for his money on a hard hit chopper. Just about a bang-bang play. I didn't know DeLoach could run like that. We're so used to seeing him just hit base hits where he can trot into first.
Not that bad. He's pretty rangy out there in right field, too. Picked up on that a little bit. Now 1 for 3 at the plate. Justice gets the leadoff man. 3-1 Falmouth with 1 out and nobody aboard in the 5th. Trey Cruz swings at the first pitch and turns it on the ground foul. No balls and 1 strike. Cruz 0 for 2 today. He's popped out to first base a couple of times. 0-1. Fastball just a little tight at 93 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike. Justice came on for 8 appearances throughout the summer for the Kettleers. This is his first appearance in the postseason. 1-1 slider outside, 2 balls and 1 strike on Cruz. Started 3 games, tossed 20 innings. Walks were his problem. He walked 16, opposed to striking out 9. 2-1 from Justice. Fastball clocked in at 94 miles an hour, but it's wild and outside, 3 balls and 1 strike.
His arm's fresh. He has not thrown in a while. And when he's locked in, he can blow it by you. But like you said, Sam, the control.
3-1 fastball. A tick outside. Cruz works a 1-out walk. That's the 17th walk of the summer for Justice. His first of this playoff run. And Falmouth has a base runner aboard here in the 5th inning. Cruz on first base with 1 out, and Jackson Coots at the plate.
And this isn't a team you want to give free passes to. We talk about how good they are at the plate, but they also led the Cape League in stolen bases.
Justice a curveball in the dirt, and it squeaks past Pasek, and that allows Cruz to go up into second base. Falmouth now with a man in scoring position. 1 ball and no strikes on Jackson Coots. Coots 0 for 1. Flew out to center field in the 3rd inning. Walked with the bases loaded in the 1st, and that's how Falmouth started their scoring. The Doors hung up a 3 spot in the 1st inning. Troy Claunch followed that up with an RBI single. Austin Langworthy an RBI groundout. 1-0 from Justice. Curveball dropped into the zone for a strike. 1-1 on the left-handed batter, Coots. Cruz on second base. He walked and advanced into scoring position on a pass ball. 3-1 Falmouth in the top of the 5th. Schmidt in at third. Oviedo shades behind the runner at short. 1-1 on the way. Wild fastball. Dug out by Pasek. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cotuit took game 1 of this series, a 5-0 shutout win on the road. Now it's Falmouth who's turned the tables at Lowell Park, up 3-1 in game 2, facing elimination with 1 out in the top of the 5th. Cruz on second. Justice looks back that way. Here's a 2-1. Curveball casted on the ground to second. Funneled up by Gonzalez. 2 clear here in the top of 5.
Big out there. We talked about how hard Jackson Coots has been to get out, and he's not the guy you want at the plate if you're the Kettleers in an RBI situation. Pick up the 2nd out there, and Troy Claunch not to do the broadcaster's jinx because he has 2 singles today, but he's been a much easier out as of late than Jackson Coots.
The Claunch 2 for 2 today. RBI hit in the first and a single in the fourth. He was stranded on third base after Dante Williams made an amazing catch in center to rob Blake Dunn of what would have been a bases-clearing double at least. First pitch to Claunch. Fastball tagged at the knees, 94 miles an hour for a strike.
This is as hard as we've seen Justice throw all season long. A lot of it's got to be the adrenaline of a postseason appearance, but besides the walk to Cruz, he looks like he's commanding it a little better too.
0-1. Breaking ball, fouled back to the screen. No balls and 2 strikes on Claunch. Cruz on third base after the ground out by Coots. Falmouth by 2, leading 3-1 in the top of the 5th inning. Claunch, a right-handed batter from Oregon State, a native from the Bay Area in California, actually got Dusty Baker's support when he came out on a couple of his Cape League visits. Slider upstairs, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Justice from RVA, Richmond, Virginia, 2017 Virginia Player of the Year. Former basketball player, too. He was an all-state pick at 6'4". Why wouldn't you play hoops when you're that tall? And he's also throwing harder today. 1-2 slider, just a touch low. Good take by Claunch, and that evens up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 3 runs on 6 hits and no errors for Falmouth on the road. 1 run on 3 hits and no errors for Cotuit at home. Kettleers answered with a run in the second on Pasik's RBI groundout. 2-2. Fastball jammed on the hands, foul. Back to the first base dugout. Claunch stays alive.
You don't need to give in to Claunch here, especially with Langworthy on deck. Just 3 for 17 against lefties in the regular season. Claunch has 2 hits today. You don't want to put runners on when you're trailing by 2 runs, but this is one of those unique situations where you can play the numbers and go after a guy like Langworthy.
Cruz creeps off third with 2 outs. 2-2. Fastball hit in the air down the right field line, out of play. We'll do it 2-2 again. Falmouth leads 3-1 in the top of the 5th. Deloach grounded out to second to begin the inning. Cruz a walk. And then he advanced to second on a pass ball, up to third on Coots' ground out to second. And that's where we stand with 2 outs in this 5th inning. Justice ready. 2-2 again. Slider outside. Full count on Claunch. Cotuit's fans on the third base grandstand not happy with the call from Rudy Firmbach, who signals up with his hands 3-2. They're on the wrong side of the ballpark to see that view. That pitch was clearly outside. It's full count now.
You saw Firmbach and Claunch share a couple smiles with that.
Playoff adrenaline. Payoff pitch. Down and in. Ball 4 for Claunch. Falmouth keeps the inning going with a 2-out walk.
That's fine if you're Evan Justice because you don't want to give in to him with a full count. We talked about with Langworthy on deck. That's totally fine. Tip your cap and just go after the lefty now.
Claunch hangs in with a 2-2 count and eventually works a walk. Second one from Justice in this inning. Claunch on first base and Cruz on third base. 2 outs with the Kettleers in the field. Top of the 5th, Falmouth with a 3-1 lead. And Austin Langworthy arrives at the plate. 0 for 2 with an RBI groundout. Justice a pick to first. Sweeping throw over to Mervis, and nothing doing. Langworthy struck out in his last at-bat. That was in the 4th inning against the lefty Chris Holcomb. Schmidt in by a step at third. First pitch. Bending curveball on the inside corner for a strike. 78 miles an hour from Justice. He's got a similar look to Holcomb and maybe a little more velocity with what we've seen so far in this inning. It was a fastball that got Langworthy back of the 4th. 0-1. Curveball inside again, framed by Pasik for a strike. 0-2 on Langworthy.
This is a different Evan Justice on the mound right now. Still struggling a little bit with the control with the walk to Trey Cruz. I'll chalk the Claunch one as smart pitching, but the velo is there.
Runners on the corners, 2 down. 2-strike fastball way upstairs, and a good jump catch by Pasik to keep it in play. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Austin Langworthy, the former national champion DH out of the University of Florida. Justice the 1-2. Curveball popped up on the infield, right behind home plate. Basic bags it. That's out number 3. Justice works around a couple of walks. No runs on no hits, no errors, and runners left on the corners for Falmouth. We have played 4.5 at Lowell Park, and it's Falmouth 3, Cotuit 1 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Fifth inning at Lowell Park. Kettleers down against Falmouth 3-1 in Game 2 of this West Division Championship Series. Cody Pasek, Nick Gonzalez, and Matt Mervis due up for Cotuit here in the home half of 5. 9-1-2. Glad you're with us in the middle of the week. Sam Niederman alongside Aram Layton and our entire production crew, Josh Rothstein and Jacob Cohen, our producers and directors, right behind us here in the Arnold Mycock building. Doing a great job all summer long, and we keep on trucking. Bottom 5, Falmouth up 3-1. Cody Pasek back at the plate, and he takes a fastball downstairs for ball 1. Chris Gonzalez out on the hill for his 5th inning of work. The lefty out of Stetson has pitched 4 innings of 1-run ball so far. Pasek a liner into short right field. Deloach comes in. That's out number 1. So now Cody's 0 for 2. Had the RBI ground out back in the 2nd. And that was Cotuit's answer to Falmouth's 3-run first inning. Been a quiet game ever since. Chris Holcomb came in emergency relief for Jackson Wolf, who only lasted a third of the inning. Back in the top of the first for Cotuit. Worked 3 2/3. Evan Justice just pitched the 5th for the Kettleers. 1 out and nobody aboard. Nick Gonzalez at the plate. Kettleers trail 3-1 in the bottom of 5. Gonzalez a slow windup and a first pitch curveball yanked foul in front of the third base dugout. No balls and 1 strike on Gonzalez. Cape League MVP, 1 for 2 today. A single in the first and a strikeout looking in the 2nd. Key defensive play for Cotuit that ended the 4th. Dante Williams, a game-saving catch in center field. That's kept it at a 2-run game, and now Gonzalez punches one into the right center gap. That's down in front of Deloach and towards the wall. Gonzalez with a 1-out double, and he gives the Kettleers life here in the home half of 5. Nick Gonzalez now 2 for 3. He bests Chris Gonzalez for the 2nd time this afternoon. And he gives Cotuit a runner in scoring position. Only 1 out in the 5th, and Matt Mervis back at the plate. Mervis, a left-handed batter out of Duke, 0 for 2. Grounded out to the pitcher in the 1st and flew out to deep left field in the 3rd. 3-1 Falmouth, bottom of the 5th. Gonzalez on 2nd after the double. One out, and Mervis chops the first pitch he sees into the air. Left field again. Mazel's camped under it for out number 2.
Kettleers need this run on second base. The game will start cruising by. It's already the 5th. You're not going to get that many more opportunities. You don't know, especially once Falmouth goes to their strong bullpen. You need to go after Gonzalez. This is the guy you need to get to. He probably won't be in the ball game after this one.
Chris Gonzalez has worked 4 2/3 quality innings for Falmouth. Commodores going to their number 5 arm on the road, facing elimination in the West Final. Gonzalez standing out on second with 2 outs. Cotuit trails 3-1 in the bottom of 5 with Araj at the plate. First pitch changeup, yanking a miss by Araj, strike 1. Anu's 0 for 2, grounded to the pitcher in the first, and bounced out to Moretto at third in the 3rd inning of play. Dunn shaded a tick to left center. Everybody else straight up on the infield. 1 breaking ball in the dirt, stopped by Claunch, 1 ball and 1 strike. Anu 15 hits in his last 40 at-bats. That's over his last 10 games. 2 home runs and 9 runs batted in. 1-1. Curveball on the outside corner for strike 2. Gonzalez ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's calling it where it lands and not where it crosses if you're Rudy Fernbach, especially with these slow benders from a left-handed pitcher. You got to call it where it crosses.
Anu's been dangerous throughout the postseason. What can he do with a runner on second and 2 down? 1-2 fastball. It runs up and hits him on the elbow. Gonzalez misses his spot badly with a 1-2 count. And he missiled an 85-mile-an-hour fastball right onto the elbow or forearm of Anu to keep the Cotuit 5th inning going. Anu a hit batsman on to first. Gonzalez remains on second. And Casey Schmidt comes to the plate, quiet so far, 0 for 2 as well.
Both times Schmidt has faced Gonzalez with the soft-throwing lefty. He's been on that front foot a little bit. That's why you've seen him pop him up. Let's see if he can make an adjustment here, wait on it, and try and get on top of the baseball.
Schmidt popped up to right field back in the 3rd. The do-everything two-way player out of San Diego State stands for the right side. First pitch curveball from Gonzalez drops low. 1 ball and no strikes. Anu, the runner on first. Gonzalez walks off second. Infield playing back and straight up for Falmouth. Nobody holding on. Cotuit down 3-1 with 2 outs in the bottom of 5. 1-0 laced over into left field. Mazel back at the wall. It's down right at the fence. Here comes Gonzalez. Anu stops at 3rd, and Casey Schmidt makes it a 1-run game with a 2-out RBI double.
And there it is. He waits back on that breaking ball, catches it deep at home plate, and rips it into left field. That is a sign of a veteran hitter. We talked about how good Casey Schmidt is at the plate, how tough of an out he is, and he is just adjusting actively. What a swing there. Kettleers have almost a new ball game here. They're right back in it.
Casey Schmidt bursts the ball over into the left center gap. Mazel unable to get there, and it gives Cotuit their 2nd run of this ball game. Falmouth still holding the lead 3-2. The Kettleers have scored the last 2 runs unanswered now. A chance for Cotuit to either tie or take the lead with runners on 2nd and 3rd and Colton Kessler at the plate. Gonzalez works out of the windup with runners in scoring position. Defense set all the way back, and time called on the diamond. So it was Pasek who flew out to right field to begin the inning. Nick Gonzalez a 1-out double. Matt Mervis a fly out to left. Anu a hit batsman, and the RBI double by Schmidt to make it 3-2. Colton Kessler takes a high and tight fastball for ball 1. Activity in the Falmouth bullpen, right-handers getting loose. Kessler has reached twice today. A hit batsman with a run scored in the 2nd, a single in the 4th. 1-0 on the way. Curveball onto the inside corner for a strike. 72 miles an hour from Gonzalez, still searching for the final out of this 5th inning. Even count on Kessler. 1 ball and 1 strike. Schmidt on 2nd with the RBI double, and Anu the hit batsman on 3rd. 1-1. Curveball with some late movement just off the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike. Kessler's got the camo socks today. Just pulls the pants up to the mid-calf. One of the bright personalities on this Kettleer ball club. He's got the swagger back in the playoffs. Can he put his team on top of the 5th? 2-1 fastball. Foul tip back into Claunch's mitt. Even 2-2. 2,000 plus look on at Lowell Park. Best crowd of the season. Kettleers down 3-2 in the bottom of the 5th. Schmidt's RBI double has made it a 1-run game. 2 in scoring position with a 2-2 count on Kessler. Gonzalez locks in, winds and fires. Fastball looped out into center. Dunn comes in, and he flags it down for out number 3. Cotuit able to get on the board. Doubles from Gonzalez and Schmidt make it a 3-2 ball game, but the Kettleers leave a couple, and we have played 5 innings here at Lowell Park. Falmouth still with a slim lead. 3-2 on to the 6th on the other side of this break.
Evan Justice out for the 6th inning. His 2nd inning of work, he was able to dance around 2 walks back in the 5th to work a scoreless 3 outs. But now he gets Steven Moretto, Austin Mazel, Hayden Cantrell back to the top of the order. First pitch of Moretto. Fastball is strike at the letters, nothing in 1. Moretto 1 for 2 with a single, just his 3rd hit of the postseason. Came up big in Game 3 against Bourne with a 3-run shot. The 0-1. Breaking ball gets away from Justice. 1-1 now. You'll see that happen with Justice on occasion, Sam, where he doesn't get on top of the breaking ball and it flies away arm side. Control has been an issue. He has not made a single appearance this summer without walking a batter. Fastball in the inner half popped up to shallow left field. Oviedo calling for it, called off by Chavers, who makes the grab for out number 1.
But the last, or go ahead, Arm, sorry.
Justice just finally getting the fastball in there, Sam. The breaking ball has been the problem for him at times this year.
Yes, it has been the problem. And that trend with the arm side miss still lingers, but his fastball has juice with the rest that you mentioned earlier, and he can be valuable when he hits his spots.
Hits his spot there with a fastball outside corner again, nothing in 1.
Really, this game lies on his shoulders. Cotuit's offense will find a way to at least tie. Can he keep it close?
0-1. Chopped foul on the first base line. That's a good point, Sam, because the offense has been better than any team in the entire postseason. You rattled off some of the astounding stats earlier, including a 22-2 victory over the Gatemen. You can bank on them probably coming across with one more run. Soft flare out into left field. Chavers ranges over. Bags it for out number 2.
And the other thing about Justice is, despite having a few spotty outings this season from the pen, or as a starter, his best came back on July 16th at Orleans. He went 2 innings in that 1-0 loss for the Kettleers. Was admirable, only gave up the 1 run on a pass ball or wild pitch, whatever you wanted to call that. That was one of the most dramatic games of the year, but he still looked really good. The walks did come back to bite, but he pitched in a very high-stress situation, which is good practice for what we've got here in a Game 2 playoff game.
First pitch to Hayden Cantrell, a breaking ball that misses low, 1-0. And something that seems similar from that last outing, Sam, is the zip on the fastball. As he pumps in a 90-mile-per-hour fastball that just misses inside. We didn't have a radar gun there at Eldridge Park, but you could just tell from the eye test that it had some more zip than the Evan Justice we had seen prior. So 2-0 on Cantrell. Fastball just too high. Now 3-0 on the switch hitter who bats from the right side. Cantrell from Louisiana Lafayette. His second season for the Commodores. The 3-0. Fastball inside. Gets past Pasek for ball 4. Cantrell sheds his gear. And will take first base with 2 outs here. And Blake Dunn will get a crack.
Well, now you were just cruising, but then you make it interesting. You walk Cantrell, who is a pest on the base paths, and you got Dunn, who's been able to make a lot of contact. So if you're having Justice and Cody Pasek right here, you got to find a way to get the right pitch sequence. Mike Roberts has emphasized and stressed that so many times throughout this year as a former catcher himself. Him and Cody Pasek have worked together, and they've found a way in a formula to call a better game to improve in that aspect. And you got to call a good one here against a right-handed batter in Dunn.
And it's not your run-of-the-mill 2-out walk because Cantrell swiped 13 bags this regular season. Dunn is a contact hitter. If he takes second base, all of a sudden, the Commodores are threatening. Pick off over to first. Justice is aware of Cantrell's speed. And then that guy, Zach Deloche, waits on deck, who you don't want to face with runners in scoring position no matter how many outs there are. First pitch of Dunn. Breaking ball in the dirt. Good block by Pasek. 1-0. Dunn 0 for 2 with a walk. He walked in the first and scored. He's popped out twice after that. Center fielder bats from the right side from Western Michigan. The 1-0. Chopped down the third base line, just a few feet foul. Schmidt was all over that, ready to show off the arm on a backhand. We've seen him do it time and time again. Schmidt came up big in the bottom of the 5th with an RBI double to bring the Kettleers within 1. 3-2. Top of the 6th inning. The Kettleers win. They have a date in the Western Division Championship with whoever wins the Harwich series against YD. That's set to start around 6:30 for Game 2. Harwich is up 1-0. Breaking ball misses arm side there. Good job by Pasek to lay out and grab it. Harwich and YD were rained out yesterday as well, so they delayed that game too. The 2-1 pitch. Fastball gets the outer half, now 2-2. Justice 1 strike away from sending it to the OMAF of the 6th and giving the Kettleers a chance to try and knot this thing up. Cantrell has not budged at first. 2-2 count. Now he's on the move. Ground ball out to second base. Gonzalez picks it. Throw to first. Out number 3. So the Kettleers strand a 2-out walk. Justice is able to get the final out there and leave Cantrell at first. No hits, no runs, 1 left to board, and no errors will go into the bottom of the 6th. It's 3-2 in the Game 2 of the Western Division Final. New pitcher, Aiden Maldonado out of the bullpen in relief of Chris Gonzalez, who finishes his ball game 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. He's in line for the win if Aiden Maldonado can preserve this 1-run lead for the Commodores. He gets Parker Chavers leading off. First pitch of Chavers lifted out into center field. Shallow center field. The shortstop Cruz will call for it and make the grab for out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 out here for Aiden Maldonado from the University of Illinois, making his second postseason appearance. He pitched 1 1/3 scoreless innings against the Bourne Braves, struck out 2. In the regular season, 2-1 in 10 appearances, a 3.11 ERA, 2 saves in 17 innings. He punched out 30. So now it's Adam Oviedo, 0 for 1 with a sac bunt, grounded out to third back in the 4th inning. First pitch to Ovi, breaking ball, called strike on the inner half, 0-1. Oviedo bats from the right side. Maldonado exclusively works out of the stretch. Nobody on. Comes set. Right at the chest, rocks back and forth. Kicks and deals an 0-1. Swing and a miss. A nasty slider there from Maldonado. Averaging nearly 2 strikeouts per inning this summer in the Cape League. Dante Williams waits on deck. Oviedo behind 0-2. 3-2 here, bottom of the 6th inning. The 0-2. Breaking ball laid off in the dirt. 1-2 now to Oviedo. Dante Williams on deck, 0 for 1 with a walk. Then Cody Pasek in the hole, 0 for 2 with an RBI ground out. Kettleers scratched for 5 hits against Gonzalez in 5 innings of work. They got to him for another run back in the 5th on an RBI double from Casey Schmidt. That scored Nick Gonzalez from second, who doubled himself. The 1-2. Lifted out into center field. Going back is done towards the wall and makes the grab right in front of the 397 sign for out number 2.
Well, here we go. Jeff Trundy's got to go to his A1s out of the bullpen. The Kettleers were able to face some of the Tier 2s in Game 1. They got Justin Robleski. They even got to see Chris Gonzalez, the 5th starter in this Falmouth rotation, to begin this game. And they still trail 3-2. The offense has been kept in check for the most part today. And you get to see Aiden Maldonado, who's very rock solid. Probably see Logan Hoffman, the all-star, later in this one. Falmouth's got to sell out and find a way to send it to a Game 3.
First pitch to Dante Williams, misses low. 94 there from Aiden Maldonado. Mostly a fastball slider mix. Fastball sits in the low 90s, touches up to 94, 95. Slider in the mid 80s. Maldonado rocking the stirrups on the mound. The 1-0. Fastball at the knees in the outer half, called strike, 1-1. Packed house here at Lowell Park, both grandstands filled. Hard to find a seat with a good view at this point. All the way around, you can see fans sitting around the outfield from left field to right field, down both foul lines, and even here behind home plate. The 1-1 in the dirt. Now 2-1 to Dante. Dante reached back in the second against Chris Gonzalez, worked a walk to load the bases, and struck out swinging in the 4th. Getting his first look at the reliever, Maldonado. All hands on deck for Falmouth, trying to force a Game 3. It's 1-0 Kettleers in the series. Best of 3 series. Lifted to the infield. Should be easy for the left side, called by Moretto, who makes the grab for out number 3. So Maldonado sets down the Kettleers in order in his first inning out of the bullpen. 3 flyouts, and we'll go into the 7th inning. It's still 3-2 in favor of the Commodores. Evan Justice back out. He gets the middle of the Commodore order. Zach Deloche, Trey Cruz, Jackson Coots. That's 3-4-5. Deloche 1 for 3 in this one. Gets his first look at the left-hander Justice. 3 lefties on the mound against this Commodore lineup that has struggled against Southpaws for most of the regular season. Breaking ball called strike to Deloche. They struggled against Trey Holland in Game 1, another left-handed pitcher. So Coach Roberts playing with the numbers, continuing to throw out all of the left-handed pitchers he has. The 0-1 lifted out into the left side, shallow. Should stay in the infield. Oviedo calls off Schmidt and makes the grab for out number 1. So Deloche down to 1 for 4 on the game, which is a big win for the Kettleers. Deloche came into this hitting .500 in the postseason.
It's been a great job by Chris Holcomb and Evan Justice to keep Deloche in check. 0 for 3 since his single off Jackson Wolf in the first. He's a big check mark for Cotuit with basically the rest of the top of the order.
Now Trey Cruz takes a change-up away, 1-0. Cruz just a 200 hitter against lefties in the regular season. That's 8 for 40. 1-0. Chopped out to the left side, cut off by Casey Schmidt. Throws across his body for out number 2.
Well, Cotuit has really funneled up Falmouth at the plate. Only 3 hits for the Commodores since that 3-run first inning. And it all came in the 4th when they loaded the bases again. And right now, Dante Williams' catch in center field is the difference, keeping the Kettleers within 1 run.
You got that right, partner. That saved the ball game for the time being. Could have been 2 at least, maybe even 3 runs, and broke it open. That's lifted out to left field by Coots. Hanging up and over and making the grab is Parker Chavers. Just a little bit too much air under that for Coots, who got a good piece of it. 1-2-3 inning. Quick work of the Commodores in the top of the 7th. Kettleers still trying to get that last run and tie it up. It's 3-2 in favor of the Commodores. We'll go into the bottom of the 7th. Nobody said it was going to be easy. The Kettleers trail 3-2 with 9 outs to spare. Bottom of the 7th, 9-1-2. Cody Pasek, Nick Gonzalez, Matt Mervis against the regular season champions, the Falmouth Commodores. Best record in the entire Cape League. First pitch to Pasek, fastball misses away, 1-0. Kettleers win, and they're on to the Cape League final. Commodores win, they force a Game 3 at home. Winner go home. Fastball misses away, 2-0. Pasek, the catcher, who bats 9th, 0 for 2 with an RBI. Now gets a righty on the mound, which has to be refreshing for Pasek, who struggled in the regular season against Southpaws, just 4 for 22. A 182 clip. Did most of his damage against righties. The 2-0. Fastball misses up and out, 3-0. This is big for the Kettleers here, Sam, to get the 9-hitter aboard for the top of the order with Nick Gonzalez.
Yeah, this is it. You got to get Gonzalez back to the plate. This might be the best look the Cotuit Kettleers have at it here in the 7th.
3 balls, no strikes to Cody Pasek. The pitch, taking all the way, strike right down the middle, 3-1. Don't know how many more times the top of the order will get to the plate in this one. 9 outs to spare. Nick Gonzalez due on deck. 3-1 to Cody Pasek. Maldonado comes set, takes a deep breath, kicks and deals. Fastball misses out. Pasek aboard, he's the tying run, and now Nick Gonzalez, the MVP, has an opportunity to try to get something going.
During the stretch, everybody in Lowell Park saying, take me out to the ball game. And you just could not help but think it's Aiden Maldonado with the ball in his hand against 2,000 plus at Lowell. And he wasn't able to get the leadoff batter there. That could be a haunting walk to Pasek with Nick Gonzalez at the plate.
So some action going on the field. Cam Hill comes in to pinch run for Cody Pasek, and there's a mound visit out with Aiden Maldonado. Cam Hill has not been able to throw after getting plunked on the elbow. It was his right elbow as a left-handed hitter. So he's not been in the lineup for that reason, but he can still run. One of the fastest players on the Kettleer ball club. And he pinch runs for Pasek, which means we'll probably see either Kessler shift behind the plate from the DH spot or Matt Donlin come in behind the dish. Looks like we have a new pitcher on the mound. The Kettleers chase Aiden Maldonado. We'll have more on the new arm on the other side of this break. New pitcher, Logan Hoffman. He comes in for Aiden Maldonado, right-handed pitcher from Northwestern State University. He'll be a junior, just 5'10", 180 on the mound. Against Nick Gonzalez, the MVP. Tying run stands on first. It was Cody Pasek who walked. Pinch run for by Cam Hill, the speedy outfielder from Kentucky. First pitch to Gonzo. Breaking ball blocked by Clonch. Keeps Cam Hill at first. Hoffman making his second appearance of the postseason. Worked 2 scoreless innings against the Bourne Braves. 1 hit, no earned runs, and picked up the save while striking out a pair. Made 10 appearances in the regular season. Was 3-0 with a 3.37 ERA. Gonzalez ahead 1-0. Infield plays back. Middle of the infield wants 2. Hill a modest lead at first. Pickoff over anyways. Hill back standing up. Matt Mervis waits on deck. He's 0 for 3. One and 0 here to Nick Gonzalez, who's back in the box, ready for the offering. Mervis has flown out deep to all parts of the field in this one already. The 1-0. Fastball just below the knees, 2-0. Gonzalez 2 for 3. Single in the first, double in the fifth, and he scored on a 2-out Casey Schmidt double. 2 runs on 5 hits for Cotuit. 3 runs on 6 hits for Falmouth. The Kettleers have left 6 aboard. Gonzalez trying to keep it that way. The 2-0. Fastball misses inside, 3-0. Kettleers have had some opportunities with runners in scoring position. As we mentioned, the 6 left on base. Gonzalez trying to play Cam Hill, who stands at first. A double could do it. Hill can run. We'll see if Gonzalez has the green light ahead 3-0. The pitch. Taking all the way there, 3-1.
Oh, this is it right here. This is Cotuit's chance. Nowhere to hide for Hoffman with a gauntlet coming up next with Mervis, Anu, and Schmidt after Gonzalez.
Now Hoffman pours in a strike, his first. Now it's 3-1. He comes set at the belt. Kicks and deals. Fastball fouled away. Now full 3-2. Final line for Aiden Maldonado. 1+ innings. No hits, no runs. 1 walk and no strikeouts. He's responsible for Cam Hill at first base. Full count here to Nick Gonzalez. Hill has been stationary at first, but we've seen Coach Roberts run on full counts frequently this summer. A guy at the plate with some good back control, Nick Gonzalez. Pickoff over. Hill back standing up. Arajanu waits in the hole. Top of the order for the Kettleers, a full count. Speed on first with Cam Hill. Kettleer crowd on the edge of their seats. It's quiet here at Lowell Park. The payoff pitch. Lifted out into center field. Back is done. Towards the wall. He looks up, jumps, and it's out here. Nick Gonzalez, the Kettleers the lead on a home run to dead center. It's 4-3 Cotuit. The MVP comes through in a do-or-die moment. Bottom of the 7th, Kettleers lead 4-3. This crowd is on their feet. A standing ovation for Nick Gonzalez. And just like that, the Kettleers are ahead of the Commodores with no outs, and now it's Matt Mervis.
Swing of the summer. Wow. Nick Gonzalez, when his team needed him the most, with a belter out to straightaway center field. Best moment of the summer at Lowell Park, and who better to do it? That could define the entire season.
Fastball misses down and away to Mervis, who's ahead 2-0. Gonzalez gives the Kettleers the lead on a blast to dead center over 400 feet. Dunn made us nervous there, scaled the wall, but it just got over his glove. Breaking ball, it doesn't quite come back, 3-0. The way Dunn is out there, he makes you feel like he has a chance at just about every single ball in his area. But Gonzalez gave it just enough of a ride to get out of the reach of Dunn, who was leaping at the top of the wall. 3-0, strike, 3-1. Mervis 0 for 3. A couple flyouts in this ball game. 0 for his last 7. He lifts one into the infield. Calling for it is Trey Cruz. Makes the grab for out number 1. So charge the run to Aiden Maldonado, one of the two. Then the other run goes to Logan Hoffman. So Maldonado's day ends at 1 inning, surrendering 1 earned run. And Hoffman now is responsible for 1 run. Has 1 out here. And gets Arajanu, the switch hitter, who now bats from the left side. 0-1 breaking ball, called strike on the inner half. 0-1 to a new. 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch. He was plunked on the arm with 2 strikes. That was back in the 5th inning. Breaking ball misses low. 1-1. Anu and Mervis have yet to record a hit, combined 0 for 7 in this ball game. 0 for 6, excuse me. But the Kettleers lineup has done the damage around them. 4 runs now. Big swing and a miss through a fastball, now 1-2. Kettleers have 6 hits now. That matches the Commodores total. Kettleers with a slight edge with 1 more run. The 1-2. Breaking ball too high, 2-2. Gonzalez now 3 for 4 in this one. Schmidt 1 for 3. Kessler 1 for 2. And Shavers 1 for 3. That's it for the Kettleers. And that's all they've needed so far as they take the lead. Breaking ball misses up and out. Now full to a new. It was a quick pull of Maldonado there. I think we were both surprised by that decision. They go to Hoffman, and he surrenders the home run to Nick Gonzalez.
Yeah, Gonzalez just too good. Nobody can beat this guy this year. He has been insane, and you knew he'd produce a moment like that at some point in the playoffs.
The payoff pitch is blown by Anu for strike 3. He goes down for out number 2, and it's Casey Schmidt. Schmidt picked up a big double back in the 5th. It was an RBI double that scored Nick Gonzalez to bring the Kettleers within 1. 1 for 3. Flew out his first 2 at-bats, but made that adjustment in his 3rd. Now he gets a righty in Logan Hoffman. Hoffman out of the windup, kicks and deals. Fastball, strike on the inside corner, 0-1. On deck is Colton Kessler. He's 1 for 2 in this one. The 0-1 to Schmidt. Breaking ball, check swing, but it's a called strike now, 0-2. So Schmidt trying to stay alive here. 2 strikes, 2 outs. Kettleers have put 2 runs across to take the lead 4-3. The 0-2. Breaking ball lifted out into left field. Going back is Maisel towards the wall, and he makes the grab with his back against it for out number 3. Casey Schmidt gives it a ride, but just falls short, but the Kettleers take the lead. A 2-run shot by the MVP gives them the lead with 6 outs to go to get to the Cape League Final.
4-3, heading into the top of the 8th inning. Nick Gonzalez with the swing of the summer. A 2-run home run to give Cotuit the lead in the 7th. And that's where we stand here in the 8th. 4-3 good guys. Falmouth back at the plate. And a new pitcher on for the Kettleers. It's Kyle Nicholas who enters the ball game. The big right-hander from Ball State makes his second appearance this postseason. He pitched 3 innings as a losing pitcher in Game 1 against Wareham in the first round. Allowed 1 run on 3 hits, walked 1, and was sharp with 4 strikeouts. Up against the bottom part of the Falmouth order here, Troy Claunch leads off and slaps the first pitch into short right center field. Sinking in front of Williams, he dives, and he got it! Dante Williams, full extension. And Cotuit grabs a huge out here in the 8th.
This team, they do everything. They've been doing it with the glove. They're doing it with the bats. How many highlights are we going to have from this game, Sam?
Dante Williams with his second big-time defensive play in center field in this game. First, he robbed a bases-clearing double in the 4th. This time, he gets a base hit away from Claunch to begin the top of the 8th. 4-3 Kettleers, 1 out, nobody aboard. And here's Austin Langworthy. First pitch from Nicholas, swing and a miss on a hard fastball. Langworthy's 0 for 3 with an RBI ground out for Falmouth back in the 1st. Schmidt plays in at third, 0-1. Hard fastball in there on the inside corner at 92 miles an hour. Nicholas ahead in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. 4-3 Kettleers. Gonzalez's 2-run home run in the 7th, the difference. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Nicholas with heat. Fastball upstairs, and Langworthy's down for out number 2.
This is the Nicholas we knew we could see down the stretch. High velocity, starting to control it now, and he could be a lights-out closer when he harnesses that stuff.
Cotuit up 4-3 in the top of the 8th inning. Nobody on with 2 outs, and Steven Moretto comes to the plate. Third baseman who's 1 for 3 today, and he nubs one on the right side. Charging play by Gonzalez with a glove, transfer to the hand. Good throw on the first. That's the inning. Kyle Nicholas works a 1-2-3 8th, and now Cotuit's 3 outs away from going to the Cape League Championship. Kettleers 4, Falmouth 3. Bottom of 8 coming up next on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Cotuit. Bottom of the 8th inning. Kettleers hold a 4-3 edge over Falmouth. Cotuit 1 win away from clinching the West Division pennant on their home turf at Lowell Park. And the Pinstripes come to the plate with one more chance to add on to that 1-run lead. Kessler, Chavers, and Oviedo due up next. 5, 6, and 7 against the right-hander Logan Hoffman. Sam Niederman and Arm Layton with you. It is buzzing here at the ballpark. You ready, my friend?
As ready as I can be. This has been crazy. What a ball game from the Kettleers and the Commodores. Back and forth. We knew this was going to be a wild series, but the Kettleers have a chance here to win it in 2.
Colton Kessler at the plate to lead things off. Logan Hoffman winds up and delivers. First pitch fastball low at 89 miles an hour. 1 ball and no strikes. Falmouth got out in front early, 3-0. The Doors posted up a 3 spot on Jackson Wolf, the Cotuit starter who only lasted 1/3 of an inning. Hoffman's 1-0. Fastball skied on the infield by Kessler, drifting back into left field. Mazel comes in, and he tracks it for out number 1. Then Cotuit got one back in the 3rd, an RBI ground out by Cody Pasek. 4 more unanswered runs later, and Cotuit takes the lead. A 2-run shot by Nick Gonzalez in the bottom of the 7th inning to straightaway center, giving Cotuit the lead. It's 4-3 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And it's Parker Chavers at the plate, 1 for 3 from the left side. Hoffman's pitch. Fastball on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1. Kyle Nicholas came on in relief for the 8th inning, worked it 1-2-3 for the Kettleers. 0-1. Breaking ball, hammered by Chavers, down the line and right. Is it fair? See you later. Parker Chavers with a 1-out solo drive to get Cotuit that much closer to a championship series.
There's some insurance, a big insurance run for the Kettleers. 2 runs now on a bomb from Parker Chavers, who you said, Sam, is looking more locked in at the plate.
Chavers bangs out his 7th home run of the season, his 2nd of this playoff run, and it's now 5-3 Cotuit with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Chavers a drive, Gonzalez a drive, and now it's 5-3 Kettleers with 1 out in the 8th. Another mound visit for Falmouth. Looks like it could be it for Logan Hoffman on the mound. The All-Star has struggled so far today, giving up a couple of home runs and 2 runs overall. One of those runs back in the 7th was charged to Aiden Maldonado, who walked the leadoff man. Adam Oviedo at the plate next. It's all going Cotuit's way here in the bottom of the 8th inning. It could be a Kettleers sweep to advance to the Cape League Championship for the first time since 2013 and for the 5th time in Mike Roberts' tenure. New pitcher comes on from the bullpen for Falmouth. That's it for Logan Hoffman. It might be the last time he throws a ball for the Commodores this summer. And Cotuit, the long ball, a big reason ride. Nick Gonzalez, the go-ahead home run of the 7th. Parker Chavers, a solo shot here in the 8th. 5-3 Cotuit. We'll be right back with the new pitcher on the other side of this break. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. And we bring you back into Lowell Park. Kettleers up 5-3 in Game 2 of the West Division Championship Series. Parker Chavers with a 1-out solo home run to put Cotuit up by 2 here in the bottom of the 8th. And that forces Falmouth to go to a new pitcher out of the bullpen. Christian Edwards enters the game. Right-hander from Jacksonville State University. 6'3", 205 pounds, a junior from Hartselle, Alabama, northern part of the state. Only 3 appearances so far this season. He came on once in the postseason in Game 2 of the first round, the game in which Falmouth lost to Bourne 3-1. Tossed an inning there, allowed a hit, walked a man, and struck out a man. Didn't allow any runs, and now he comes on with nobody on. And 1 out. Adam Oviedo at the plate. 0 for 3 today with a fly out to center field his last time up. First pitch to Oviedo. Fastball outside at 88 miles an hour. 1 ball and no strikes. Cotuit rises to the occasion at home late. Nick Gonzalez on a 3-2 pitch, a swing out to center field, and a 2-run home run to make it 4-3. Shavers the home run to make it 5-3. Here's the 1-0. Nipped off the end of Oviedo's bat, foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kyle Nicholas would come on to pitch the 9th inning for Cotuit and get the final 3 outs to pave the way to a Cape League Championship Series. Defense backing straight up for Falmouth. Edwards works out of the stretch with nobody on. Closed off. 1-1. Looping curveball that never came down. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Huge insurance run for the Kettleers here. 1 run is scary, especially with how good Falmouth is on the bases. They get 1 aboard and swipe second. All of a sudden, they're a base hit away from tying it. Now 2 runs gives you a lot more comfort and breathing room if you're Kyle Nicholas.
5-3 Cotuit, bottom 8. 2-1 fastball, jacked up into the air on the right side. Coots goes over to the fence and runs out of the room. The Kettleers have sucked all the life away from Falmouth and all the momentum back to the hometown Cotuit Kettleers here at home. 2,000 fans plus jam-packed into LP. And they'll go bonkers if Cotuit can find 3 more outs in the 9th, up 5-3. Edwards ready at the belt. 2-2. Fastball in the dirt. Oviedo runs it to a full count. 5 unanswered runs by the Kettleers. 3 runs on 6 hits and no errors for Falmouth. 5 runs on 7 hits and no errors for Cotuit. It's been a pretty good, clean ball game with a little bit of everything so far.
This has been one of the best baseball games I've seen all summer and maybe my whole life. Back and forth.
3-2 fastball poked in the air on the right side, foul again. We'll do full count again for Oviedo. Cotuit slowly but surely back on top in this game. The Kettleers trailed from the gun. Falmouth 3 runs in the first inning. Jackson Wolf gone. Chris Holcomb middle relief. Evan Justice 3 scoreless innings. Now it's up to Kyle Nicholas on the mound to support an offense that has scored 5 in a row. Bases empty with 1 away. 3-2 fastball hit on a line to Cruz, who leaps to snag it at short for out number 2.
Tough 0 for 3 today for Ovi. He had the sack bunt and hit the ball hard just about every time. Another one that he was all over, just right at Cruz.
Adam Oviedo greeted with applause on the third base side. The 2-year veteran of Cotuit knows how passionate this community can get. It's a love for pure baseball in this village. This is the summer entertainment. And they could get another bonus round of championship baseball with 3 more outs. Dante Williams now at the plate. 2 outs and nobody aboard. Ball 1 from Edwards. 5-3 Kettleers. Gonzalez the go-ahead 2-run shot in the 7th. Shavers a 1-out solo drive here in the 8th. Williams climbs in 0 for 2 today, walked in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th, and popped up to 3rd in the 6th. 1-0. Downhill fastball, fouled off the end of the bat. 1 ball and 1 strike. Moretto plays in at 3rd base. Could be Falmouth's last chance to dance. The regular season division champs won 27 games, edged Bourne in the first round in 3 games. Look like this might be the team. They once won 11 in a row in the regular season. Maybe the curse still goes on for Jeff Trundy and his Doors. 1-1 curveball in the dirt, 2 balls and 1 strike. It's been a 38-year championship drought for Falmouth. And Cotuit leads 5-3 in the bottom of the 8th. That close from making it 39 years. Williams, a left-handed batter. Edwards out of the bullpen. He relieved Hoffman after the solo home run by Shavers with 1 out in this inning. 2-1. Fastball in there on the outside corner for a strike. 2-2.
Williams has battled up there at the box today. Another tough 0 for 2. We were talking about Ovi. He worked a walk once and had a couple good at-bats. Now trying to stay alive 2-2 here.
Edwards stares in. Entire Cotuit dugout up on the third base side. 2 outs, nobody aboard. 2-2. Fastball just a touch outside. The entire Falmouth infield shifted towards their dugout. They thought that was strike 3. Instead, Rudy Fernbach gives Dante Williams a full count at the plate. 5-3 Cotuit in the bottom of the 8th. 2 outs and nobody on. Shavers added on another run with a home run earlier in this inning. Edwards closed off for the stretch. 3-2. Fastball popped up on the infield. Cruz backpedals at short. Says, I've got it, and he does. 3 outs here in the 8th. But Cotuit gets another one. Parker Shavers, his second home run of the playoffs. And that makes it 5-3 Kettleers at Lowell Park. Cotuit 3 outs away from winning the West Division pennant. We'll have that on the other side of this break. This is Cotuit Kettleers postseason baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Three more outs for the Kettleers. It's 5-3 here in the top of the 9th inning. Kyle Nicholas will try to shut the door and pick up the save and send his team to the Cape League final. It's 9-1-2 here. Austin Maisel, Hayden Cantrell, and Blake Dunn. It'll be a tough 3 outs for Kyle Nicholas, who now has a 2-run cushion thanks to the solo shot by Parker Shavers. That was in the bottom of the 8th. Maisel 1 for 3. He singled back in the 4th and finished 1 for 3 with 2 flyouts. Fastball, strike on the outer half, framed by Donlin, who came in for Cody Pasek. That was when Cam Hill pinch ran for Pasek after he led off the 7th with a walk. 0-1. Fastball misses down and in. Now 1-1. 95 there on the gun from the right-handed pitcher Kyle Nicholas. One and one, the pitch. Fastball misses inside, now 2-1. Maisel's been a tough out. Hit well over 300 as a 4th outfielder for the Commodores. The 2-1. Fastball up high and misses. Gets away from Donlin, now 3-1. Nicholas amped up. Sometimes that adrenaline can cause a closer to overthrow.
Yeah, you just got to calm down here, get back to basics, and find the zone.
Nicholas will try to find the zone here, 3-1. Fastball fouled away, now makes things full. Top of the order waits on deck. It's Hayden Cantrell, then Blake Dunn. 3-2 count here on Maisel. Maisel's 1 for 3. Trying to get on board. The tying run waits on deck. Payoff pitch, swing and a miss. Blew a fastball by him, 1 down here in the top of the 9th inning.
Kyle Nicholas was always going to be a crucial piece in a deep playoff run for Cotuit. He stepped up big against Wareham despite losing in that game 1. Now he's got a chance to send his team to the title game.
First pitch of Cantrell. Line drive down the line into right field, a base hit. Should be extra bases. Cantrell around first. He coasts into second with a stand-up double. Cantrell picks up his second hit, reaches base for the 3rd time. Now 2 for 4 on the ball game, and just like that, The Commodores have the tying run at the plate with Blake Dunn.
Not done yet. You knew Falmouth would fight. As top of the order has always wanted to be here. They played so hard all summer.
Now it's Blake Dunn. First pitch, slider, swing and a miss. Nothing in one on Dunn. He's 0 for 3. He walked and scored back in the first. On deck is Zach DeLoche, the reigning batting champion in the Cape League. 0-1, slider blocked by Donlin. Donlin's a guy you want behind the dish here at the end of the ball game. A late arrival from Stonehill College, just a sophomore, but a cat behind the dish. Really athletic and a good job handling his pitchers. Kyle Nicholas, a tough guy to handle with his mid-90s fastball and hard slider. There's the mid-90s fastball, misses up and in, 2-1. Dunn, the two-hitter, ahead 2-1 now. He represents the tying run. Cantrell out at second. 2-1 count here to the right-handed hitting center fielder. Slider fouled away. Now 2-2. One away here. Kettleer fans cheering on Nicholas and the Kettleers for another strikeout. They clap in rhythm. 2-2 here to Dunn. Mazel a big lead off a second. Or Cantrell rather, the pitch. Flair out to second base. Gonzalez grabs it, 2 away. Dunn retired. And how poetic is it here? Zach DeLoche, the reigning batting champion, came into this game hitting .500 in the postseason. The last chance for the Commodores, representing the tying run. DeLoche 1 for 4 in this one. Came into the game hitting .500 in the postseason. First pitch of DeLoche. Fastball. Framed by Donlin, but Rudy Fernbach wasn't biting. Misses outside, 1-0. Trey Cruz waits on deck. The 1-0. Fastball misses away, 2-0. DeLoche, the left-handed hitter from Texas A&M, has made strides at the plate. Hit just .200 this spring for the Aggies. .353 this summer in the Cape League. Nicholas trying to battle back. The 2-0. Fastball misses up and out, now 3-0. Cleanup hitter on deck is Trey Cruz. He's 0 for 3 with a walk. DeLoche represents the tying run, and now Donlin will go out and talk to his pitcher.
This is a big moment for Nicholas. You have first base open, but you got Cruz who's on deck, who's also a big power hitter, and you wouldn't want him to run into a ball or put it in the gap.
DeLoche had 5 regular season home runs himself, all 5 against right-handed pitchers. Ahead 3-0 here. Nicholas comes set, kicks and deals, a fastball, called strike. Now 3-1 here. Oviedo holding on Cantrell now at second base, shading him. Nicholas comes set, checks on Cantrell, the 3-1. Swing and a miss. Blew it by him, now full. 3-2 count. Kettleers 1 strike away. This was a team that went 5-15 to end the regular season. Had not won a postseason game since 2014. 1 strike away here from the Cape League final. The payoff pitch. Fastball just misses low. Ball 4. A borderline pitch there. DeLoche takes his base. And now the tying run is on first for the cleanup hitter, Trey Cruz.
Have to be able to finish here. Kyle Nicholas just has to take a deep breath out there. He is more than capable.
Cantrell on second, he doubled. Deloche on first, nobody holding him on. Mervis playing no doubles behind him at first. First pitch, swing, popped up, tailing out of play. 0-1 here to Cruz. Cruz from Rice University. His father played in the major leagues, his grandfather as well. Bloodlines in the Cruz family. 0-1 here to the cleanup hitter batting from the left side. The 0-1. Check swing on a high fastball. Did he go around? No, he did not, says Tom Ryberg, the third base umpire. 1-1. On deck is Jackson Coots. He's 0 for 3 as well, but has been a tough out in the postseason. Nicholas trying to get Cruz here. 2 outs. 1-1 count. Breaking ball just misses away. The Kettleer fans wanted a strike here. Rudy Fernbach disagrees, now 2-1.
Pretty pitch. Very beautiful location from Nicholas. Just did not get the call. He can live right there.
The 2-1. Fastball popped up, tailing out of play. Strike 2. Once again, Kettleers 1 strike away. Kyle Nicholas. 2-2 count here. 2 aboard. 2 outs. And a 2-run game, 5-3 Kettleers. The entire third base grandstand on their feet. The 2-2. Line drive, foul. Down the left field line. We'll do 2-2 again.
Ooh, that was scary. Would have been a double. Not sure if it would have scored the tying run, but would have made it a 1-run game.
Cantrell can run on second. 13 stolen bases in the regular season. Deloche is no slouch on the base paths either. 5 stolen bases. Count remains at 2-2. Nicholas comes set. The pitch. Popped up. Should be playable. Ranging over is Anu. He makes the grab. And for the first time since 2013, the Kettleers are going to the Cape League Final. The entire team meets on the mound. They shake hands. And just like that, this team is 2 wins away from a title.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This team has had a championship aura all around them throughout the postseason. They fought back against elimination in Wareham. They dominated Falmouth in Game 1, trailing 3-0 in this game. They made the plays late. The pitching stepped up and held it down, and your best players made those plays at the end of the game. Nick Gonzalez with the home run, and Parker Chavers for good measure, and Kyle Nicholas was able to make the pitches when he had to in the ninth. A little closer for comfort than the Kettleers fans would have wanted, but this Cotuit team is on to the Cape League Championship.
They win it 5-3. They trailed a majority of the game, trailed until the 7th inning. That's when Nick Gonzalez went yard, a 2-run shot, and gave them a 4-3 lead. And Nicholas shuts the door. This Kettleer team has just had some magic, like you said, Sam, some aura around them. And they break the curse, so to speak. They had not won a playoff game since 2014, and they looked like they were spiraling at the end. They only won 5 of their last 15. And they started this postseason off falling behind 6-0 in the first inning of the first series against the Gatemen. And they've roared back since then, have not lost a game, and they have been dominant.
It's been destiny, Aram. It has been straight destiny for this team. Mike Roberts has pressed all the right buttons in this postseason. And who would have thought, if I would have told you today that Jackson Wolf would only get 1 out in the first inning, that the Kettleers would come away as the winner of this game and be playing for a Cape League title tomorrow, if Harwich wins, that is. Unbelievable.
We'll wrap this thing up. A crazy back-and-forth game here at Lowell Park. The Kettleers win 5-3 and on to the Cape League Final. We'll have a quick break, and on the other side, we'll wrap a bow on this one.
Welcome back into Cotuit. The Kettleers are West Division postseason champions, and Cotuit is going to the Cape League Championship Series to play either Harwich or YD. Kettleers sweep Falmouth today in Game 2 with a 5-3 win in front of thousands at Lowell Park. What an unbelievable finish, Arm. What an unbelievable game.
You said it. It feels like destiny, Sam. This team just has been a machine since the postseason. They love each other. They're a really close group, and they've been having a blast out there on the field. And so much passion. It's so fun to call games for this team and watch this team play. It has been a pleasure, and we're not done yet.
Not done yet. Cotuit looked like they might have been done for this game, too, at the beginning of the game. Jackson Wolf started it, gave up 3 runs, only getting 1 out in the first inning. And Falmouth led 3-0 after 1. Looked like it was deja vu all over again from that Wareham game, but somehow this team just finds a way to come back and respond.
Once again, Chris Holcomb gives them a chance. He went 4 innings in relief of a big deficit for the Kettleers in Game 1 of this postseason. Didn't give up a run. Today he goes 3 2/3, does not give up a run, and gave his team a chance to come back. Evan Justice turns in his best outing of the summer, and guys just continue to step up. Even some players that struggled in the regular season turned the page and looked like new players in this postseason. And you had the sense that this offense was never out of it. As long as the pitchers could keep putting up zeros, they did their job, and the offense did what they've been doing.
The Kettleer comeback began in the second inning. Cody Pasek with an RBI groundout, which made it a 3-1 game. Then Cotuit got one back in the 5th. An RBI double with 2 outs by Casey Schmidt made it a 3-2 ball game. Falmouth got out of that inning with the lead still. But then we went on to the 7th. Logan Hoffman into the game for Falmouth out of the pen. An all-star reliever opposite Nick Gonzalez. 1 on, nobody out after a leadoff walk. 3-2 count, and Gonzalez slashed out his best home run of the summer to straightaway center to make it a 4-3 game.
This guy, you just knew he was going to come up big at some point. Started a little slow for his standards in the postseason, and then all he does is pick up the biggest hit of the entire summer to date. We'll see what happens in these next few ball games, but to give the Kettleers the lead there 4-3, and that was all they needed. Chavers added the insurance to make it 5, but you got the sense once he put that one over the center field wall that that was going to be the turning point, and it was.
Kyle Nicholas got the final 6 outs of the game, and Cotuit takes their Western Division pennant on their home turf in front of a happy scene here in the village of Cotuit. This is just beautiful right now. Fans pouring all out onto the field, kids playing. Mike Roberts, the happiest camper of them all. He got to share a good moment with his close friend here in Cotuit, Tom. They embraced. Arajanu went over and gave Coach the game-winning ball that he caught in right field to seal the deal. This Cotuit team is going back to the championship series for the 5th time under Mike Roberts, and he has found a way to navigate this team all the way to nearly the peak of the summit.
This has been an unbelievable run. Roberts really got the players to buy in. They've enjoyed playing for him and playing with each other. And it's just, you can tell on the field. It just translates onto the field, especially in summer ball when the guys enjoy playing with each other. It's evident, and it has been evident all season long. This team just continues to show that they have some sort of destiny to be in this championship. And I think it's going to be a fun 2 or 3 games starting either tomorrow or the day after, depending on Harwich versus YD.
Cotuit is in the Cape League Championship Series. The Kettleers will play either YD or Harwich. Harwich leads the East Pennant Series 1-0 after 1 game. Game 2 going on right now in White House Field in Harwich, and it's no score in the top of the 2nd. YD's got to win to force a Game 3, which if that happened, the Kettleers would have an off day, and then they would start Game 1 of the championship on Friday against the winner of the series. If Harwich wins tonight, it's Cotuit and Harwich tomorrow. Get right after it, a rematch of the 2008 final. Which team do you think would be the best matchup for the Kettleers, and how would everything fare if one of the two made it?
It's a good question, and your pick to make the final out of the East was Harwich. I'll give you the credit there, and they're hot at the right time. I was thinking all season long, this is a really talented team on paper that's underachieving, and that's exactly been the story with Harwich. They squeak into the playoffs, but then their talent shines through. I think they're a scary team. They're a beast in the East. YD's no slouch, but with Wyatt Young now out of the lineup, they have Austin Wells, but I don't think their pitching and offense right now matches up to Harwich. Harwich is going to be a tough one if they make it through, and I think they're going to be the toughest team for the Kettleers. But It doesn't matter. It's still baseball, round ball, round bat. You play 9 innings, and if you play better, you'll beat them.
We will see. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the way the Kettleers have been playing, they could beat anybody right now.
We will see how it all pans out. Harwich and Whitey scoreless in Game 2 of the East Championship Series. Top of the second at White House Field. If Harwich wins, it's Cotuit and Harwich in the championship best of 3. If Whitey wins, they force a Game 3 that'll be played tomorrow, and the Kettleers will have the day off. Player of the game, Nick Gonzalez at the plate. He wrapped up 3 for 4 with a clutch 2-run home run. Drove in a couple of runs. This guy has done it. You knew he'd make a big play on the big stage, and he did.
He is just so calm, cool, and collected out there. 3-2 count, game on the line. You couldn't see it. You had no doubt in your mind that he was going to come through, or at least put a good swing on the ball, and that's exactly what he did. That guy has been the leader for this team. It's been a group effort in this postseason, but Gonzalez, at the end of the day, he leads the way. He's the MVP for a reason.
Other notables from the Kettleer lineup, 1 for 4 with an RBI double for Casey Schmidt. Colton Kessler went 1 for 3 with a run scored. Parker Chavers 2 for 4 with the big home run in the 8th, which made it a 5-3 game. How about the pitching from this ball club again? They stepped up, and everybody picked each other up, even when Jackson Wolf went down early.
And Wolf, you hope he's healthy first and foremost. He did not look like himself again on the mound. The velo was a little down, but tip your cap to Jackson for wanting to compete and come back, and he battled out there as best as he could. Holcomb again, like we said, just giving his team a chance, and then Evan Justice turning in his best appearance of the entire summer at the most important time. He was phenomenal out there. And then Kyle Nicholas, again, a guy who's really found it, figured it out here down the stretch, and he shuts the door. And you get the idea in the sense that he would be the one shutting the door for a Cape League title if the Kettleers get the opportunity.
Cotuit gets key innings out of their bullpen today. Here's how it all lined up. Chris Holcomb, 3 2/3 innings of work. No runs on 3 hits, no walks, and 2 strikeouts against 14 batters. Evan Justice, 3 shutout innings, 3 walks, and no strikeouts against 12 batters. And Kyle Nicholas came on and worked the 8th and the 9th. 2 shutout innings, allowing 1 hit, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. Falmouth had 2 on late, but Nicholas and the Kettleers were able to get that final out with the potential go-ahead run at the plate, tying run on first. Was your heart beating pretty fast at that moment, my man?
I mean, we knew that Falmouth was not going to go down without a fight, especially when Deloche was up. That was probably when my heart was beating the most. And then you get the tying run on first with Trey Cruz, a guy who's been struggling, but has the power to put it out of the yard at any given pitch. And a guy like Kyle Nicholas on the mound that supplies the power. You had that weird feeling in the pit of your stomach that it was possible, but Nicholas won the battle.
The Kettleers did it. Cotuit is in the Cape League Championship Series. They'll play either Harwich or YD out of the East. Best 2 out of 3 starting either tomorrow or on Friday. The Kettleers would be the road team in that series regardless. They cannot be the higher seed. So Game 1 would be on the road. Game 2 would be back here at Lowell Park. And Game 3, if necessary, would be back on the road at either Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth or at White House Field in Harwich. This team plays well at home, but they've also played super well on the road in this postseason.
They've played well everywhere. I think they'd play well on Mars right now, the way this team has looked. And with Game 2 here at Lowell Park, an opportunity to potentially clinch it in front of 2,000 plus, it could be a really awesome opportunity, and I'm excited to see what we have ahead of us.
Both of the previous 2 championships for the Kettleers under Mike Roberts have come on the road. They won it in 2010 against YD. They won it in 2013 at Orleans as well. Both of the opponents that will possibly come out of the East are former opponents the Kettleers have faced in a championship. Of course, YD, we just mentioned in 2010. Harwich was the opponent in 2008, the first championship series that Mike Roberts took Cotuit to, and the Mariners won that series in 3 games, winning in walk-off fashion in front of 6,000 fans at White House Field. That was a memorable Cotuit squad. Nick Hernandez threw 8 1/3 innings as a temporary pitcher out of Tennessee for Cotuit in that game. And then it was Drew Storen, the future Major League closer, that came on in the 9th and unfortunately wasn't able to get out of the inning. He gave up the walk-off, and Harwich won 2-1. So it could be a replay of that. It could be a replay of YD in 2010. Regardless, Cotuit is in the Cape League Championship Series. If you had to look at the pitching, Sean Sullivan, the beauty of winning today, too, is that Sean Sullivan didn't have to go in a Game 3 for Cotuit. They get the job done early, so now they can go with their ace in Game 1.
I don't think there's been a better pitcher in the entire Cape League in their last 3 or 4 outings than Sean Sullivan. That's the guy you want with the ball in Game 1 of the championship. Like you said, Sam, huge to save him for that ball game, because if the Kettleers drop this one today, you got to make it to the championship. It probably would have been Sullivan with the ball. Instead, they save him for Game 1. That's going to be a huge advantage. Harwich has some good arms, but I don't think anybody can match what Sean Sullivan's doing right now.
Who would you say goes in Game 2? Would it be somebody like a Harrison Cohen, or maybe even a emergency Chris Farrell appearance, something like that?
That's possible. I think we could see a committee. We could see a bullpen committee. Matt Mervis has not thrown a single inning in this postseason. He is fresh. You could stretch him out for 3 or 4. Heck, Evan Justice looked phenomenal today. If he looks sharp, you could probably stretch him out a few. Matt Moore has yet to throw in this last few games and in this entire series. There's a lot of arms available, but I think Mervis could potentially get the start as a backward starter. We saw openers. Mervis could kind of be your opener in that game too.
Make sure that you keep updated on that Whitey and Harwich score. It's Game 2 and Harwich still scoreless in the bottom of the second inning. Harwich wins it in a sweep if they get the win tonight. Whitey forces a Game 3. So keep track of that schedule. If Harwich wins, that means it's Cotuit and Harwich tomorrow for Game 1 in the Cape League Championship. That would be a 6:30 p.m. first pitch. We will have coverage for you live on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Visit us on the road at mixler.com/Cotuit Broadcasting. That's mixler.com/Cotuit Broadcasting for your radio call of every game left in the championship run for Cotuit, and home game stream live on YouTube at Cotuit Kettleers. Once again, home game stream live on YouTube at Cotuit Kettleers. That's where you can find us. Your championship HQ. It either begins tomorrow in Harwich or on Friday at YD at Red Wilson Field. And my friend, it's been quite the journey. You think this team has 2 more wins left in their tank?
The way they look right now, they have it. It's just whether Harwich can slow them down, and we know they're good enough to do that. It's going to be a battle and a slugfest, whether it's YD or Harwich. But it looks like Harwich might be the favorite here.
It was a day to remember at Lowell Park. All smiles for the Villagers on the field. And a congratulations to the Falmouth Commodores, the Western Division regular season championship. You saw the 2 ends of the spectrum at the end of the game when Arajanu caught the final out. The celebration on the left side by Cotuit's home fans, and the flood onto the field by the Kettleers to get into that celebratory handshake line. On the opposite side, Falmouth despair. Jeff Trundy's search for a championship goes on. The Commodore championship drought goes on all the way to 39 years now, and the Doors embrace each other and say their goodbyes for what was probably a wonderful summer for them. A lot of bonding between that group. They always had fun. If you saw any of it on Twitter, they really made the most of their time, and now it's time for them to all say farewell. And Falmouth season comes to a close in the Western Division Championship. So it's still a flood of fans here on the diamond. Roy Reese, our public address announcer, sharing a moment with Mike Roberts, who's been all smiles, just beaming with pride. Cotuit, they've got 4. You need 6 to win a championship in the Cape League playoffs. And right now, the Kettleers get one more shot at it. Keep posting on that Harwich YD score. It'll be the Kettleers against Harwich or YD for the Cape League Championship. Best of 3 coming your way either tomorrow at White House Field or on Friday, TBD. Make sure that you stay posted with us on all our social media platforms on Twitter, and that'll be it. So our final line score from tonight. Falmouth, 3 runs on 7 hits. No errors and 10 left on base. Cotuit, 5 runs on 7 hits. No errors, and 6 left on base. Winning pitcher, Evan Justice. Losing pitcher, it was Logan Hoffman, the losing pitcher, and the save goes to Kyle Nicholas, who picks up his first of this postseason. The game took 2 hours and 40 minutes. It was sunny, partly cloudy, humid at 79 degrees. Cotuit sweeps Falmouth in the West Division Championship. For all of our media team here at the Cotuit Athletic Association and our leadership, our president, Andy Bonaker, our vice president, Paul Logan, our intern supervisor, Don Lassier, our intern coordinator and broadcast executive producer, Martha Johnston, our general manager, Bruce Murphy, our producers, and Josh Rothstein and Jacob Cohen, our photographer, and Josh Muir, our writing team, and Ben Gainsborough and Will Kraus, our social media manager and sports information director, Caleb Kaufman. For Arm Layton, I'm Sam Niederman saying good night from Lowell Park. We will talk to you in 24 hours or so for some championship baseball. Cotuit, a shot at Cape League glory, and we'll talk to you then.